All right. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact, and I got some of the bad boys here with me. Thanks for being here. King Lucky, Sin City Steve, and Matt Michaels.
You know what? It
What's up?
hit me. I think that motherfucker lied to us.
Yeah.
I don't think he got the commitment. The fucking Saints are playing right now.
Oh.
That's exactly what it is.
So if they lose again, then he won't have to cry on air.
Yeah. At least we don't have to hear the bitching about it this week.
Yeah. You know,
No,
that's what we
we'll
call.
We'll just have to hear King Lucky bitch about the Cowboys.
You know what?
Cowboys.
I'll be honest. Going into this week, I knew we were going to lose this one.
Just checking in to see if y'all are still dem boys.
We still them boys. We still them boys, baby.
If you
Yeah.
really want to be honest, you should be thinking like that every single week.
Nah. But I knew this one was going to be tough. So
Yeah. Well, my Raiders didn't do too well either, but it's okay.
But
Yeah,
you know
your
what?
Raiders
All
shit
on
the
the
bed for me.
weekend
Thanks.
was not lost for me, as my Lakers are the Western Conference champions. So a little bittersweet because my Cowboys didn't win, but the Lakers.
Okay.
And if we win, I'm going to LA for the parades, all properly social distanced.
That's just impossible.
There will be no virtual parade.
There will not be a parade, man.
There will be a parade.
Yeah, you and fucking Wino Chuck on 5th Street in Figueroa fucking going, hey, I think that was a Laker. Hey!
Oh my God, that's good stuff, man. Guys, welcome to the show. We are just wrapping up WWE Clash of Champions. All titles were on the line tonight, and overall, it was a decent show. It was all right. Let's get right into it. Of course, the pre-show kicked right off. And first off, let me welcome all of our listeners that are on our Facebook Live feed. And also, we want to shout out Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch viewers as well. We want to welcome you and thank you for being a part of our podcast live show as well. And if you're on the Facebook Live feed, feel free to throw in the comments. And as we get the opportunity, we will try to put some of those comments here online. Back to the show. The pre-show started off with the Lucha House Party.
Yeah.
Okay. Versus Shinsuke and Cesaro. You know, Shinsuke and Cesaro won the match. I thought maybe they were going to continue maybe this breakup that they're having between the group there, but they just kind of let that slide, eh? Is that kind of how we should look at that? And it was just supposed to be a quick match, and that's it. I guess they'll go back into that on SmackDown again.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was just they really didn't play too much into that. So
Imagine that, Lucky not watching a match involving cruiserweights.
Right.
Yeah, but Lucky's got a boner for Cesaro, so
That is true.
I just want to know which one is Ray.
Oh man, neither one. Shame on you, Michaels. Let's get right into the start of the show for the Intercontinental Championship. Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn.
wow.
Guys, what a match, right? I think the right person won. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I was ready for this to happen.
Right
What's
there
your
with you,
take?
brother.
Yeah.
Right there with you. Yeah. Honestly, this was the best match on the entire show.
Mm.
In my opinion, this was
it was
the
a
best
great
match
way
on the entire show.
Great way to start the pay-per-view too.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Like everybody brought it. It was
Mhm.
a hell of a match. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not really too much that can be said. I mean, everybody was at the top of their game. You can't ask for too much more, especially for a starter. To get everybody fired up. Perfect.
I wish Jeff Hardy would have done something spectacular.
He clearly did. I thought Jeff would have won the match, but I'm fine with Sammy winning. And I thought the way he won was brilliant.
What is it with you and just wanting to keep belts on guys who are fucking like from the Attitude Era? You don't use Ray the right way. Oh, Angle shouldn't have lost that match. You know, oh, Jeff should have, you know, they could have kept the belt on Jeff. Come on, dude. Some new blood finally.
No, I was fine with it. And I thought the ending was brilliant. I mean, Sammy hooking them all up with, handcuffs was just, we've never seen that before, in a ladder match. So I thought that was really cool.
I'm disappointed. You know what? If you think about it, if Jeff's ear was handcuffed to something, especially a ladder, and Vince has been on this kick with having people's eyeballs poke out, how come Jeff didn't lose his ear to get free from the fucking ladder? That would have been amazing.
He didn't give him enough time to put that together. I'm pretty sure he thought of that. He didn't have enough time to figure out how to make that work. That's hilarious. But yeah, man, shout out to Sammy. Man, Sammy has just been on it. In fact, he even popped up on the pre-show. Also, hey, saying, I just love going back to when you look with Impact Wrestling, when Moose was having the TNA title at the time, he doesn't have, I guess he's looking for it now, but when he did actually have the title, he plays sort of the same role that Sammy's played, and he did an okay job with it, but Sammy has just been selling this idea almost to the point where many times, like when you listen to the commentary like Cole or any of them, they would you almost kind of want to agree that he is the real Intercontinental.
Because he was. Not like Moose just finding a fucking belt and going, I'm the champ. or Taz going, here, Brian Cage, now you're the FTW champ.
Right.
He was the champ, and the title got vacated because he couldn't come to work because of COVID. He wanted to be safe.
Right.
And I don't know if we knew it was COVID related. I hope that maybe we figured it out after Corey reminded us over and over and over.
Right.
But that's why it's so good. And it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
You had 3 guys in that time period fighting in this ladder match over it. It's basically a recreation of what they did with Shawn and Razor, 25 years ago, but you added new elements, a third person, and it was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the highlight of the show for me, clearly, outside of this match, was when Retribution showed up. Oh, that's right. They weren't there.
Well, we'll jump over into that when we hit our Raw talk.
Yeah. They're only on Raw, not on the pay-per-view.
How about our...
They haven't signed that contract yet.
Apparently not.
Yeah, they just signed the contract for the weekly shows.
Absolutely. There was a 24/7 championship match. Well, not really.
Are they ever really matches?
Right, exactly. But R-Truth did get pinned by Gulak.
Man, I thought Gulak should have kept the belt. And they should have had the belt go over to SmackDown. But whatever.
Got a draft coming up.
And you do have a draft coming up. You do have a draft coming up.
And what are you putting any stake into that fucking title for?
Of course.
It really is the Moose example is your 24/7 belt.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So Gulak had won that, and then later on in the show, of course, R-Truth figured out a way to get his baby back, and so I'm glad R-Truth has having a lot of fun with that, and I should say Vince McMahon, because I think those are only two that are having the best fun with the 24/7 title. Let's move right on though. The Raw Women's Championship with Asuka and Zelina. I don't get to Zelina. Okay, she was in NXT, right? That's correct. Okay. See, because I didn't watch a lot of NXT during that time, so I don't know how she was as a
during that time. It was only like 2 years ago.
Whatever,
dude.
leave me alone. So I've never really seen her perform in the ring, but I thought she handled herself pretty well. I mean, it was an all right match.
Well, she was in TNA too. I mean, she's got the chops. I mean, but
yeah,
this clearly was just a transitional thing. At least so I thought. And then after the match, they kind of strung it on a little bit more. So it is what it was.
Yeah. Because
that's definitely one way to describe it.
Yeah.
And
wasn't nothing to write home about.
For fuck's sake, they're continuing the feud.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right after the match, Zelina went ahead and started to attack her. So,
but
if you were a part of the Vegas Bad Boys app chat, then you would know my feelings on this exact occurrence.
The one thing though is that you have to give her a little something like that. Because she has no credibility on the main roster yet as a wrestler. So at least have her come off as someone who's tough. But as we saw, obviously, that match and then the beatdown a little bit afterwards, Asuka was fine to go out and wrestle a full nother match. So,
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you know what? I'm fine with it because Zelina Vega is a good talent. She needs to get in the mix with the women's division, and
really, so you would put her up there with Charlotte and Becky and Sasha, Bayley.
Oh no, let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? But I like the things that she brings to the table. I wouldn't have hotshot it and put her in with.
What does she bring to the table? What are her things she brings to the table?
Well, she's a decent wrestler. Let's put it that way. She's a decent wrestler. Overall, the package for me, I'm entertained. She can wrestle and she can talk. That's what she brings to the table.
Really?
Maybe you want to see her with like the Riot Squad or
no. Come on. What?
I think if you're looking for someone to be part of Retribution, there's one person. Why not?
Or fuck it. Here's an angle that hasn't been suggested at all. Who's to say that she's not involved with them already?
You know what? Honestly, after showing the tough side, have her show up in Raw Underground.
Ooh.
Maybe, pave the way that way. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ideas what could be going on.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that just saying putting her up with like the 4 horsewomen, basically the WWE 4 horsewomen, is not exactly anywhere near where I would place her, but definitely middle of the pack. She is miles better than Lana in the bottom tier, but she's not on the level of the 4 horsewomen.
That's a great question. I'm glad you said Lana, because obviously Lana, but as compared to, let's say, Mickie James and Natty, she's obviously not as good of an in-ring worker,
right?
But she can talk. So why not, instead of just having her go after Asuka, which is out of left field, why not have her run against Mickie or have her run against Natty to show that, to do what you tried doing tonight, to give her a little longer feud and to start investing? Because the other question is, I guess she's a heel because she went against Asuka and she attacked her afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But how long is she going to be able to keep as a heel?
Right.
Well, at the end of the day, that really doesn't matter because we've got the draft coming up. So that is a complete reset button that can be pressed for everybody on the roster. Like they could literally flip the entire roster upside down if they wanted to.
Which would basically mean that just Raw goes to SmackDown and
No.
SmackDown goes to Raw.
You know what I fucking mean.
I think you have a good point there. And when you look at it, SmackDown is increasingly becoming a, kind of the A show. So you need entertainers and you need people that can talk. So why not, throw over there, So it would have been cool if you could have got her. And I know they just blew this whole angle off with her and Garza and Andrade, but her and Garza over there on SmackDown, I'm sold. So
yeah, well, we won't know where Garza's going to be.
Right.
Damn.
And just to let you know, Sin City Steve, BJ Darton says, Wells, she is better than Brandy Rhodes.
No shit. I mean,
ouch.
No shit.
Oh, man.
Then again, that all due respect, but that's not saying a whole hell of a lot. Just saying.
Right. That's right. Hey, and you too can also join in the comments. Just go to our live video comments feed, and we'll try to throw it in there when we can. The United States Championship: Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews.
I'm so glad we got to see that match.
Yeah,
because I've been waiting to see those two go at it.
Mm-hmm.
This was the nacho match, wasn't it? Wasn't that the stipulation? You go get nachos in this match?
Damn.
The only thing that was hurting was my fucking eyeballs from trying to keep them open during the match. Oh, hurt. Pathetic. Oh.
You were in the hurt business watching the match.
They're Apollo is such a good, he's a solid guy, a good worker. Do something for him. I thought maybe a glimpse of maybe this will be the turn. Maybe at this point he loses to Lashley, Ricochet comes in to help him, and then they beat the shit out of Ricochet, and or maybe Ricochet.
So we're gonna grow the hurt business still.
We'll keep the hurt business, but get Lashley out of there and put
Lashley's going to SmackDown.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, put Cruz in, and something like that.
Not only that, but then you start. Off of what Michael said, you could then start building Ricochet back up, because what the fuck is he doing? Hopefully, Ricochet goes to SmackDown. Fuck, man, Jesus Christ, because he is dead in the water right now.
Yeah.
Well, he's had about as good of run as Loki.
Oh, he did, without question. Yeah, he got the documentary on him. The whole nine, and its peaks and valleys. True, so it's time for another peak for him.
You just didn't hear what I said. That's all.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's had about as good a run as what?
Loki.
Oh, shit. Man, that's one guy that'll never make the majors.
He did, and then he left.
Well, yeah.
That's what it seems like they're doing to Ricochet. Hey, you got charisma, you got talent. We'll keep you outside of the ring in this match.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Oh, well. Well, Lashley is still our United States champion. Gotta keep the belt in the hurt business. Say it again.
You're United States champion.
What? He's our.
Michaels has no love whatsoever for Lashley.
Oh my God. All right, whatever. Let's jump over into the Raw Tag Team.
He was so good with Lana.
I agree. He was good with Lana.
That was being facetious, dude. Of course you would say that. He was good with Lana. Of course he was.
So from the chat, Raven says Ricochet back to NXT next week.
Ooh.
I hope so.
I'd be cool with it. Honestly, fuck it.
I'll take it. Dude.
Have him take the title off of Balor.
Yeah. Exactly.
Man, no Balor? Oh. All right. Jeez.
Or just think about it. We could have Ricochet versus Cameron Grimes. Hell yeah.
Hell fucking no. Oh man.
I'm glad it's not being looked on as a bad thing to go from SmackDown or Raw back down to NXT.
Yeah, it shouldn't even be the connotation shouldn't even be back down to NXT. Should be you're just going to another brand, and hopefully,
exactly.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
but I don't know if that comes across for everyone.
It does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I think they also have an opportunity here, and we'll get on it later. But talking about the draft to bring in some talent that would make NXT more competitive with Sin City Steve's favorite show. So, this is a good time.
Yeah.
So basically what you want to do is take people who are not getting you ratings on the main show on NXT because they're going to bring ratings to NXT. Okay.
Gotcha. No, there are people that can bring ratings. Ricochet being one of them.
What, Roman Reigns on NXT? Is that what we're doing now?
No. He's the reason why SmackDown is surviving right now.
All right,
John Hobson from the chat says Cameron Grimes should be the popcorn stand. He's going to be at the popcorn stand from he and I.
Oh, man.
Oh, and BJ Darden says Adam Cole to Raw, baby.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. BJ's got a mind for the business. So him, me, Steve, we all think alike. Lucky you and John keep together.
John Jett. Hey man, listen, I got the smarks on lock, baby. My whole kingdom. We're coming for y'all.
Where do I sit on the logical side and the smarts? Am I like in the middle or I'm more?
Now that you had to ask that question,
I'll tell you
my opinion has changed.
He said you're a total WWE mark. Watch the pre-show, the post shows, everything.
Look, whatever. Listen.
Actually, so yeah, Lucky brings up a great point. Raven says in the chat, Vince really loves DJ. He has zero knowledge of talent's past careers. And he says Vince McMahon loves DJ. He goes to every Mania and even watches all the pre-shows. I mean, there you go. Facts.
Whatever.
So he's more so in my kingdom then.
Oh boy.
Smart kingdom. Oh, of course.
All
yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Well, you realize Impact, if Vince did see you in person, he'd think you were Keith Lee.
He would.
You probably got a point to that. Oh man. Okay. Raw Tag Team Championship, the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. What's your guys' take on that?
Went about how I thought it would, but I mean, the match was compromised. I thought they could have probably played off of Garza and Andrade, and finally got this thing underway. But yeah, we don't know. We'll see what happens with old Garza there. I mean, dude's a stud, incredible talent. So hopefully it's nothing serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing. If you think about it, the Street Profits have a very good chemistry. I mean, you talk about it either in the ring or on the mic. They're really good. The Garza Andrade, once again, Andrade is a good example of someone who, as soon as they came up from NXT, as much as they've tried to do stuff with them, they just can't connect.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's it's a problem when you bring someone up who, again, it's pattern. You see it in different guys where they don't just transfer it right into it. And I don't know. Every time I watch him, he's another one that, I mean, if he wasn't with Charlotte, realistically, would he still be in the position he's been?
Well, I mean, I think one thing happened too. He got injured when he was kind of heading up to, where they thought he could go, and then that kind of just derailed him. And then he got suspended, right? Didn't he get suspended for? Yeah. So I mean, he's kind of had some bumps in the road there and hasn't been able to necessarily recover. However, we could say that, but he's on TV every week. So
well, that's what I'm saying. If he wasn't with Charlotte, would he be on every week?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest problems we know, I mean, let's be honest, the biggest thing in glaring is the fact that he doesn't speak English fluently.
Oh yeah, without question. That holds him back tremendously.
Yeah, and look at like Cesaro. You look at him and you go, well, why is that guy who's like Vince's like, fucking wet dream type of body type? Why is that guy not at the top tier level? It's because, I think Vince hears, that accent and goes, that won't sell.
Yeah, and he kind of kept the Chrome Dome for too long, so he probably always viewed him as an old man.
Well,
what the fuck?
You gotta know when to cut that hair, baby.
Sure.
All right. Well, let's let's just jump over.
Presentation is everything.
Obviously.
The SmackDown's Women's Championship. Bayley. Now it's supposed to be Bayley and Nikki. No Nikki, eh? So that caused Bayley. She was just going to go ahead and say, "Hey, raise my hand so I can stay champ." And again, who comes out? Asuka. And I don't know. What's your guys' take on that?
We've seen Asuka wrestle so many times over the last 2 or 3 months in pay-per-view matches. I'm done.
She's a good worker. She's a good worker.
No, she's a great worker, but I'm done. Like, put somebody else in that spot. Yeah, I don't know.
Who?
Yeah, who else should have come out to
put Lacey in there? Shit.
Yeah, but Lacey has nothing to do within that story. Plus, Lacey's a fucking heel, jackass.
Yeah, I know. And I normally don't like heel versus heel things, but I mean, I just don't want to see Asuka again.
Okay, mark that. Someone time fucking mark that one, because he just said I didn't want to see Asuka again. Give him 4 weeks, and he's going to be like, man, they're not using Asuka enough.
Yeah, they are.
Someone please make a GIF of that, or like a clip or something.
Right.
Thank you.
I'll make that clip for this week.
Jesus.
So how exciting was it to see Sasha? Not exciting?
Listen, Sasha shouldn't have been there. Okay? Quite honestly, she should have still been off of TV.
You didn't like the Aaliyah look?
Listen, I like the look, baby.
Okay.
Sasha is but she shouldn't have been there. Especially grabbing at the neck brace and all that stuff.
They had to make sure that you remembered exactly what happened.
No, keep her off of TV.
Like what happened last week, or especially because the draft is coming.
I thought for sure after Bayley beat the shit out of her, she was gone for another couple weeks until the draft.
Yeah,
but no.
But I think, I mean, we're going to see if she shows up on SmackDown. Then what's the point? But if this was the one touch before they separate them on brands, then that's fine.
Yep, that's exactly how I viewed it. I mean, everything was fine as far as the match. It was a serviceable match. I mean, it was what it was. Realistically, they made the best out of a shit situation.
Yeah.
And they improved it the best that they could. Chances are they knew, they may not have had a very loaded locker room. That's one other thing to consider, Lucky.
Yeah.
They may have only had the people that were actually working matches. So who else are you going to bring in to work the match? someone that has proven herself to be, you know, an Iron Woman, and that
I
would
was
be
already
Asuka.
tested for the show, and
Yeah. So I mean, I had zero issues with it, and you know, that's something that everybody has to keep in mind is, you know, card subject to change has never been more true than it has
right
been
now,
for the last
and
6 or 7 months.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'll give him a break on that one.
All right. Well,
holy shit. I just made an alibi and an excuse for WWE against Lucky's claim.
What
the fuck?
What a
Sorry, guys.
WWE
Thanks. I'm done.
sympathizer you are.
I'm done.
Coming back. He's coming back.
Yes. Well, yes, Bailey is still the SmackDown Women's Champion, so we have that. Let's jump over, though, to our WWE Championship match. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton in an ambulance match.
I thought
Sin City, for real? You weren't entertained by that?
You know, once they finally got to the match, it was great. For those of you that were not in the Vegas Bad Boys app chat while the pay-per-view was going on, I legitimately asked the question because I wasn't sure if it was the edibles or if Randy Orton's entrance was the longest entrance in the history of the WWE.
Yeah. It was like
a
remix.
You know, what's interesting, though, is that if you want to talk like the ultimate, just tie everything together, because the truth is where were you going with this? Yeah. And in the end, I mean, you know, again, it's Drew versus Randy. Now, in terms of ambulance matches, probably their best one behind Shane.
Without question.
But the good aspect was bring all those guys that he wronged and get them involved.
Yeah.
And now, go ahead.
Where was Keith Lee, though?
Mm.
That was one thing that I was like, So, I mean, maybe we'll see now. Maybe that's Drew's next. Maybe that's the next feud. I don't know.
Yeah. And then, you know, well, either that or tomorrow you get some Edge. You know, that's the other person I was missing.
For fuck's sake.
I think they're done with Edge.
Oh, Edge can't do anything. He's physically unable to.
Right.
How long has he been out now?
What? He hurt himself, about 3 months ago, 2 months ago?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's too short. Was it WrestleMania?
It's too short. If he's going to come back, you have him come back at fucking Rumble. Why waste it on
something? Exactly.
Yeah, so maybe it is Keith Lee.
It's got to be, which I'm 100% cool with. I think that this was probably one of the best ambulance matches that I've seen.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, there's always some fuckery and chicanery at the end of the matches, and I shit you not, as the events transpired, I was just waiting for someone to just, you know, fuck Drew McIntyre, like, you know, but I was just waiting for it. And then when it didn't happen, I was elated. Like, I was like, holy shit, this was a great ending to this story. And it's been a long time since they've done something like that, honestly.
Yeah. I thought right at the point that Randy was going to close the door and then Drew put his arm into the door to stop it, I thought that was going to be the moment that Flair was going to come out and basically make the save for Drew, and that would have been Flair's role. But in the end, I thought having Flair drive an ambulance at 71 years old, the door ripped off, and saying that he's going to be speeding.
Yeah.
And we know that Rick probably just had a couple. I thought, well, that's great, man. I just want to, if they were smart, there would be like a headline right now that Ric Flair has been pulled over for drunk driving.
That would be awesome.
Own ambulance and captive hostage of Randy Orton. That would have been brilliant. And then Rick could have had one more match in his career against Orton, and that would have been it for his life.
Jesus.
A career versus life match. Orton versus.
Oh man.
Fuck.
Well, you guys are were right saying that it was a good match. You know, I was disappointed at during the mess up of the catering. You know, don't mess up food in the back, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't mess up the food.
They got really nice catering back there.
They did. Yeah.
I've been back there once, and dude, the catering setup is legendary. It's amazing.
You didn't eat the catering food while you were back there, right?
I didn't, but I looked at it.
That's for the wrestlers.
It was only for the wrestlers and their family.
All right. So Drew McIntyre still our WWE champion, despite what Matt Michaels think of him. It's a good day for us. Okay.
Real quick.
Yes.
From the chat, BJ
Yes.
Darden says he should show up on Raw asleep at the wheel at the start of the show.
But they should. It should only be about like 5 feet past the like getting weird, right? And he just kind of fell asleep right there. And he's been asleep, the whole 24
The entire
hours.
time.
That would be amazing. Amazing. Uncle Brucey.
Raven from the chat says BTE should have a horseman Arn Anderson drive an ambulance, third generation Cody in the back of the ambulance. Watch it. It'll be on BTE tomorrow.
It never ceases to amaze me just how much Tony Khan lives rent free in his head. It is absolutely amazing.
That's
wait.
awesome.
To be honest, though, he just made a very valid point. You're telling me that AEW on Wednesday is not going to have the fucking the brothers of whatever fucking those your guys are the mom's minivan guys.
They
already
the best
have
friends.
The minivan, So just have their opponent in the back. It's
They'll work an ambulance into the show in some way, shape, or form. I don't guarantee it, but I'm damn sure that it would happen.
And once again, it proves what the fuck is going on with pro wrestling this year, where every fucking show has a goddamn vehicle involved now. Every show,
dude. Everybody's been asking and begging for the return of the Attitude Era. That's the same shit that they did during the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
But I mean, what we're one fucking pay-per-view away from Marquez getting an Uber to show up.
So I do have to point this out, and I know I'm going to be chastised as being a homer and whatever, but I do find it very interesting that they did have a babyface take a bump through a windshield. Right after another rival company show did almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But at least they're smart enough not to have them throw someone into a vat of orange juice.
No shit. No shit.
That's coming soon. Vince loves that.
Oh yeah.
Goddamn Jericho, that was good shit.
Wait a minute. Shit. Well, we're gonna vat of shit. Dolph Ziggler could go into it because that ties everything together. Continuity, brother. Dolph was part of that squad that got the shit on him. He'll fall in the vat with the shit, and he'll be wearing a light-up jacket. Yes!
So, Michaels...
Bruce, when you put this on TV, just all I need is just a little bit of a shout-out. Just a little.
Right.
So what you're saying is throwing someone into a vat of shit is such good shit.
Exactly. Well, that's how I came up with it, pal.
Perfect.
Raven says WWE has wine. We'll have a wine match.
There
with
you
the
go.
Undertaker's new wine. That should have been his final match.
What the fuck?
Well,
Pour the fucking wine in the gas.
dude, they put pallbearer in concrete, so
Yeah.
a wine match, yeah, why not?
I see what you did there. Why not?
Oh
Why
man.
not?
Why not?
Well, let's get to the most important match of tonight's show, the Universal Championship match with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The way that, man, I mean, Roman's a beast.
Yep.
My wife called him a Samoan god. I don't know what that means.
You're gonna be wearing, you know what you're gonna be wearing?
Tell
You're
me.
gonna be wearing the Roman Reigns cosplay this year.
Yeah.
With the hair. I can't wait to see you have the fake tribal tattoo. You and Simon Street, because he's got to wear the Cody Rhodes tattoo.
Well, look, yeah. She was definitely in that match, telling me just look how cut up he is, and just how.
Came out with
And I'm just
off, baby.
I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
but
Well, there's that.
yeah, you know, whatever gets things going. Let's go. So yeah. The way just the way how it was ending was just great. I enjoyed it. You know, tell me I'm the tribal chief.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to be said about the ending, but the way they built this, you know, and it's still more to go.
Sure.
But the way that they built
Here we go. The package was so great.
The video package was great. It was awesome, you know. And Roman's done a great job selling this thing. So, you know, kudos to them for really digging in and, you know, getting this thing over.
Well, I will say
late.
Say that again.
7 years late.
Oh yeah, without question.
7 years ago.
Yeah, without question.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, BJ says in the comment that, you know, him and Rock at Mania and who's the head of the Dynasty match. Yeah, when he was saying that, constantly trying to get Jay, the only thing I kept saying in my mind was, yeah, The Rock is at some point. And then I think as I was reading for topics, I thought I was reading that it looked like Rock was gearing up for possibly doing some, you know, getting back into the ring.
I said it. So everybody laughed me off the fucking block. Yeah, when I said it,
laughed you off the block.
When I said it,
you delusionally come up with this shit as I said it. Like I booked it. Bullshit.
Hey.
Fucking, you know, it isn't that we fucking, you know, might go, oh, you're delusional or stuff. It's just like, what the fuck? Who cares?
I want it to happen, baby.
Why? What does it bring to the product?
Whether it's in LA or whether it's in Tampa, because, you know, there's a rumor it may be in Tampa. Either way, it sells a great story. And Roman has went Hollywood or either in Tampa, their origins are from Florida. I love it, man. It's the time to do it.
For one fucking match.
No, it'll be more than one match.
Oh, see, now one more match. No. You're going to tell me that Dwayne Johnson, the fucking actor who is pulling down some of the biggest money that any motherfucking actress have ever pulled, is going to have the time to step into a goddamn ring more than once.
Yep.
Shut the fuck up.
It'll be once. It'll be once at Mania. Hey, you know what? And I like BJ, man. BJ said, Lucky said that shit like 3 weeks ago, legit. Thanks, BJ. Shit.
Well,
look,
sounds like Lucky's got himself a fan.
Right.
Congrats, buddy. There's one.
That's for him right there when he sees this.
There's one.
Fun,
well, look, bottom line.
You got to fucking stop taking any kind of chair shots, man.
Shit.
if you're starting to believe that this guy makes sense, man, you gotta fucking really look at your life there.
Hey,
So,
wait a minute.
All I know though,
Insider run-in, Raven says it's been known for months that Rock's doing Mania, baby.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, dude, and actually,
it's been known for months.
Considering,
Steve's about to reiterate it here. You didn't predict anything, Lucky.
Considering how you like to, alter things and facts and, make everything suit your narrative, I actually fucking agreed with you when you threw that out there that it was going to happen. So
thanks, Steve.
No, but I'm just saying,
welcome to
like,
the kingdom.
Hashtag not my fucking king. All that I'm saying is at least a broken clock is right twice a day. All right?
That's right, baby.
And the sun shines on a dog's ass once in a while. This just happens to be one of those occasions.
That's right. Hey.
And if it's been known for months, then you couldn't have predicted it.
I didn't know for months. I don't have inside
I didn't know for months. Whatever. You fucking read the dirt sheets. Raja probably told you. And you probably don't even remember because you're so fucking delusional.
Hey, my kingdom, stand up. We don't need this. Hashtag my king. I'm going to make the shirt, baby.
What the actual fuck?
That's crazy. But anyway,
you're one mass short of being the Dark Order.
Listen, my elevator sometimes doesn't go all the way to the top floor, but it always stops at the penthouse, baby.
Oh Lord! Again, I thought the way the match came out, I thought it was really good. And,
yeah.
And then having Jimmy come out,
I guess I didn't call that either.
Throw the towel. Hey, Jay said, don't throw the towel. He threw the towel anyway, where that's going to go. It's a lot there. But I love, Roman is just at his best. The only thing I hate about having this sort of segment right now is it not taking place in front of like a live audience, right?
Oh,
yeah. It would have really been great. And I listen, and I get it. I'm just saying that it would have been awesome to have that sort of experience right there.
Well, they're in Florida. They could have had a live audience.
Well, that is true. Everything's now open. Everybody come in. Let's go.
But you know what? If LA still having a problem with getting stuff open, baby, Florida will have it open. We'll have Mania next year. It will happen.
So overall, guys, you guys are
go to Mania. Don't wear a mask and just enjoy. Just breathe it in.
I'll be there.
Overall, guys, when it comes to the show, your overall take, decent show, didn't care for it, liked it very much. What's your final?
For what they had to work with, yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any complaints.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm middle of the road on it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Nothing was like blow away amazing other than the IC title match. That, like I said, was the best match on the show. But there was nothing that was just outwardly bad, I thought, on the show. One thing that, call it what you will, but if they were smart, then they may be able to work this whole referee officiating bumbling into some sort of an angle. So, obviously about the clusterfuck finish with Mickie James and Asuka on Raw, how that was, signaled to stop prematurely.
Yeah.
There was a pretty fucked finish tonight. Granted, Garza injured himself. They threw up the X, whatnot. But again, there was some sort of a miscue, or like the guys in the ring didn't know that the match was going to be over. So, you could, in theory, use this storyline. Plus, unless my ears were deceiving me, I heard some commentary, shit talking the refs as being slow and out of position and all that kind of stuff throughout the show. So could we possibly see some sort of a, bringing some sort of an angle about where they're second guessing the referees or, something of that nature? I think that could actually be worked into a pretty interesting angle.
You mean like I don't know, Retribution paying off the refs,
Yeah.
or I don't know, Danny Davis is behind Retribution.
Some sort of conspiracy. I mean, dude, that'd be pretty fucking dope in my opinion. Because now you're not just, looking scary with fucking, weapons and, destroying the set and, cutting shitty promos. Now you're actually being more cerebral with things.
So let's now jump right into WWE and SmackDown talk from this past week that was unrelated to the Clash of Champions, and that will be Retribution. Of course, they did kick off the show, and we got a chance to see what some of these faces were. It looked like King Lucky's not happy with what he's found out about Retribution so far.
The only thing that could make Lucky love Retribution anymore is if Cameron Grimes was in it.
Listen.
Is this a good look for Mia Yim?
Listen, MVP destroyed Retribution with one word. The ladies were talking first, right? Then he said, "You hoes." Right there, you just discredited the whole fucking group. So
What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking weak. And it was, listen, that's not corporate MVP. That was MVP from the streets, okay? When he called them hoes. I don't know. I'm over this shit. Especially you didn't put them on the pay-per-view. You could have put them on the pay-per-view tonight.
Doing what? They're not champions. It's the fucking Clash of the Champions, dude.
So you have Shayna and fucking Nia Jax defend the championship against those two. If you want to kick them off with a bang,
who the fuck are they? Who are they, Lucky?
Dude,
they're not fucking established characters. Come on.
Hey.
You want to come before you get a hand job.
Hello.
Jeez.
So can we take a second though and just sit back, analyze, and marvel at the wonderful name choices that they made for this segment?
Oh man, yeah. Fuck out of here.
T-Bar, Slapjack,
and Mace.
And fucking Mace. No dollar sign in the
bad
Mace.
Boy.
No dollar sign. Now, the one thing that I'll mention is, according to Brian Alvarez, I know, blah, but according to Alvarez, he went on Wrestling Observer Live, and evidently Mia Yim has registered an Instagram account with the name of Reckoning. So now we've got T-Bar, Slapjack, Mace, Reckoning, and another name that WWE has trademarked, which I swear to God, I hope that this is not Mercedes Martinez's name, is Retaliation. What the fuck?
Yeah. And we won't know until we find out what the actual fuck is going on.
Hey, so BJ Darty said from the chat, look up T-Bar on the Urban Dictionary. Somebody with poopy pants.
Some of this shit's got to be a rib. I swear to God.
Well, the talk is that backstage after the names were announced that they were the fucking laughing stock of backstage. I mean,
okay. So where did you get this?
I got it on the dirt sheet. Yes, I did.
Who? What dirt sheet?
I don't know. It just came.
You know which one, Michael.
It wasn't on Raja, okay?
That's
it
bullshit.
wasn't on Raja.
But that's my point.
If I would have known you wanted the source, I would have brought it to you, okay?
But the thing is that you read all these fucking dirt sheets and then you take it as word.
No.
He got it from the fucking.
Said that. Oh well, you know.
Word on the street. I didn't say it was the gospel.
He gets it from the fucking Pro Wrestling Spotlight Facebook page or the 434 or some of these other fucking news sites. They're on Facebook. Is it that
far off? I mean, if we think the shit is fucking horrible and funny, is it that far off that people that work for the company that are fucking smart
Or is it that far off that these people who write these dirt sheets are just fucking putting that shit out there to make people like you go, yeah, well, those people believe it, so I fucking believe it.
Maybe it was clickbait, okay? But the shit stinks.
Raven chimes in and says, Lucky got it from catering.
That's
There you
right,
go.
baby. I was catering.
Well, just so you know, Retribution got contract deals. So
Yeah,
there
they
you go.
got contracted to tear the place up. Get the fuck out.
So DJ.
Yes, sir.
BJ from the chat says that you should look up the definition of T-bar in the Urban Dictionary and also slapjack. And you should read those things on the air.
T-bar and slapjack.
I'm working on slapjack, all right?
I'm sure you are.
So can I just say how fucking hilarious this shit is? That Retribution went from showing up and demolishing the set and causing mischief for free, and instead WWE signed them to contracts and are paying them to now show up at their events and cause mischief.
They didn't pay him to show up at the pay-per-view.
So that makes you go, who's behind it?
Who's paying him? Yeah.
There you go. You know, this is the thing. Everyone's jumping to fucking conclusions. And even if they don't have a direct line of where they're going, you take these little things and eventually something's going to come. If it doesn't, they're going to fucking ditch it. I mean, God, how many times have we seen shit start and it just ends because there's nothing to do? There's no gas there. You have every single week, they have to put out so much fucking product. And by the way, oh, they destroyed the arena. Well, yeah, and guess what? Now they're in the Thunderdome. You never think of that, Lucky. Oh, that's because I didn't think of it.
we all know that it's Shane McMahon that's behind it anyway. No, I'm dead serious. They announced that a new faction was coming to WWE the night that they showed up, and it just so happened to be the same night that Raw Underground was also a part of the show for the first time.
Yeah, but what if it's maybe, I don't know, Stephanie? You know? There are options. We don't know. We don't know where they're going. They might not know where they're going. But you still have things that are coming together where you can take these ends and start saying, okay, this happened, we can come with this. Yeah. Raw Underground, you know, I mean, it's hard to say where they're going with that.
Downhill. BJ says Linda.
Yeah. Well, because, you know, with all the Retribution being the take on the riots that were going on in the streets, it would make sense that Linda's behind it all. Or, now here, if these guys are fucking, and you guys got to admit, they're fucking geniuses, if they are anticipating that Trump will be out of office, and in February of 2021, Donald Trump shows up as the leader of Retribution. Hall of Famer, Donald Trump.
I thought you were going to go another way. I thought that they would attack him.
Nope. There you go.
All right. Well, you just closed it all up for us. So February, get back when this shit takes off.
Hey, man, it was February of 2002 that the No Way Out pay-per-view had Vince McMahon bring in NWO. Why couldn't we see? I mean, listen, anything is fucking possible in the world of wrestling, and you've said some really stupid shit. This is dumber than fucking hell. But if
apparently you just said the stupidest shit.
just for the record, because I guess I was challenged to do that, the definition of T-bar from the Urban Dictionary says, when one is wearing a thong or G-string, they sit down, it sticks out, and you see a T-bar.
So Sunny Kiss is wrestling gear. I'm just saying.
I'm just reading. Okay.
Wait, you got to read the other one.
You said you were doing that, did you not?
Slapjack?
You just, that's what you said.
The slapjack, the act of ejaculating on one's hand and then slap another person in the face.
No, boy.
We'll never get sponsors this way, baby. Fuck.
So wait, so you're talking about the Pat Patterson?
Oh, shit.
That's why they gave him the name. In honor of Pat.
Oh my Lord. Okay.
Is continuity.
Yes.
Oh,
all right. So why did I put in my notes? I put great segment with KO, Shane, Dabba-Kato, Braun, and Aleister Black. Was that a good segment?
No.
No?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
No.
I must have thought it
But
was.
what was a good segment?
Okay.
Even though I'm tired of seeing the Mysterios on my TV every week, I thought that the Aaliyah thing is intriguing. Okay, so I'm curious to see where they go with that. But
You didn't like the Maury storyline? Do you watch Maury?
yeah,
I'm forced to watch.
I've watched it before. I know you're deep into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm forced to watch it, so
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, okay, but you didn't like it.
No, I mean it was whatever. It took forever to get it off the ground, but you know.
All right,
Well, you know what? Here's
Steve, get up, Steve. Yeah, man, live show, man.
Sorry, I was so enthralled with the Mysterio angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But remember the whole time everyone was talking about Dominic turning on Dad.
Yeah.
Aaliyah turning on Dad is a better storyline.
Oh
Yeah.
Without question.
Yeah.
Dominic still gets to be the baby face. You know, Aaliyah
If
could
they
do
actually
that
follow
shit.
through with it, though.
I think it's clear that they are.
So
Yeah.
why didn't they hire someone to play Mysterio's wife?
Yeah, because she just is. She's like a mime at this point.
Well, she don't speak English, right? That's the story. Stop. I don't think she speaks.
She doesn't. That's the problem.
Okay, so
then, it's just they should have. I agree, but
Or
or just left her off of TV. In general, just left her off of TV. Could have been
Yeah.
right there with the two kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. All right, last take that I have on Raw
okay.
is Lana getting that weekly ass whooping. Getting that weekly ass whooping, and then it's back to the doghouse, man. I mean, clearly, if there was, people always say that I'm wrong, that there's a WWE doghouse. She's clearly in it.
Hang on. Again, you and the alternative facts bullshit.
Is there
No
not
one
a WWE
no one
doghouse?
ever said anything against the fact that there's a WWE doghouse.
Ask George.
What?
George. How about that?
Well, there's
George
one
isn't
person.
part of this show, nor is he in the chat room. So go fuck yourself, dude. What is this shit? Now we're just gonna go ask people who don't even participate in what we do.
That's funny.
All right, let's do that. In fact,
All right, next show then. All right.
no, Raven. If
I just had to prove a point.
Raven, please reach out to George right now and get George to call into the show. Fuck.
Do you have any takes, King Lucky, on SmackDown that didn't pertain to anything in Clash of Champions you want to throw out there?
I really love what they're doing with Alexa Bliss. I think it's outstanding work. You know, and she's doing phenomenal with it. So that's really all I have.
Is Lacey Evans in the doghouse because she got beat up by Alexa Bliss?
Well, I mean, there is rumors that she was for like the last 6 months. So
Well, there you have it.
allegedly, rumor has it. Okay.
Oh my God.
That's why I have Smartville, baby, because we can live out there with like all these rumors, innuendos. You know what I'm saying? There's certain people that love that. Thank you.
All right. Well, look, we'll then jump right over into Impact Wrestling that came on. I don't have a whole lot. I'm just going to tell you a couple of things, and I got a segment to show you that I thought was hilarious. Start off though, the triple threat X divisional title shot, and after this, the winner goes right into the match with the X divisional champ Rohit Raju. So it was Chris Bay, Trey Miguel, and TJP. The winner of that was Trey Miguel. After the match ended, Rohit immediately jumped in the ring, and within 10 seconds, he pinned Trey. Because, of course, the match was pretty brutal, right? So Trey just really, that was the whole point of Rohit retaining his title, which he's doing everything he can to not really have to fight to keep this title, and he's doing a good job with that. So he is still your X Divisional title. Good stuff there. With Susie, she is still doing her best, trying not to jump into her Su Yung persona. And
going a little long at this point.
Say it again.
Going a little long at this point.
Yeah. Kylie Ray is, also kind of helping her to not allow Susie Young to come back. So they're still playing along with that. One thing that was pretty funny though, EC3 is saying, hey, why don't we help Moose figure out the connections of where this title is, how to find, because this whole thing, Moose has been trying to figure out where EC3 is, because where he is where this title is. He's been leaving clues, and apparently, Moose is having a hard time figuring it out. So EC3 gave us Moose's telephone number, his cell number, which I'll give it to you as well. It's 407-457-8494. There you go. Thank you. Matt Mike was going to call. But really, you're only supposed to...
You got to give it to him one more time.
It's 407-457-8494. Okay. You got on speaker? Listen. All right, here.
The voicemail box is not been set up yet.
I thought it would have been dope if it would have said, control your narrative.
Yeah, so the whole purpose of that was if we had a clue to call that number so we could let Moose know. So I guess Moose hurry up and did something with that number. Great segment. Again, it was funny. Of course, Bravo is still working on his wedding as they're working on. So they're running that. And Eric Young, man, they're really giving him a pretty good storyline. I see King Lucky shaking his head. He beat up both Deaners in the ring.
You must have been crushed.
Say it again.
You must have been crushed.
Ah,
your favorite tag team.
I know. He was then about to. He was then about to.
I like the Deaners more than I like Cameron Grimes.
You don't watch Impact.
I do watch Impact every week. I just let Impact cover Impact. That's it.
And then Scott D'Amore jumped into the ring, which Eric Young was about to beat him up as well. And who came for the save? Eddie Edwards came back because he had been out ever since he got beat up by Eric Young. So Eric Young is just on a tirade right now, just showing his dominance as the Impact champion. And so with that. But one segment they did play is it's a little bit about 4 minutes, but enjoy this. I think you're going to really get a good kick out of it because I did. And I'm loving everything that they're doing on Impact when it comes to this particular storyline. So I'm going to jump right over to it for you guys' entertainment as well. So you get to enjoy it too. All right. Let's
enjoy this now while it is up on YouTube.
My name is Heath.
I used to have a last name, but now a billionaire keeps it in a safe.
And if you know me, it ain't no secret. I need a job. And it's not only because I have kids.
Daddy, can we get a water slide for a pool? Yeah!
I don't know, baby. Can we?
I also need a job because this professional wrestling is what I love to do. And look, I can go anywhere I want to, but...
Excuse me, sir. You know you're not welcome.
Like I was saying, I can go anywhere I want, but where I want to be is in Impact Wrestling. Why? Because one, they have some of the best competition in the world. And two, well, my best friend's here. Oh, look, it's Rhino in the wild. Why are you standing like that?
It's a jungle out there in the Impact Wrestling ring, and Rhino is becoming an endangered animal. And you can do your part to support rhino conservation by supporting hashtag Heath for Impact. With Heath by my side, I know I'll always be safe.
You know, it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. Well, actually, it's free. You can help me out and get Impact Management eyes on hashtag Heath for Impact. Please get this trending on Twitter or any other social media platform out there.
And, you know, fans, it's not just you and me that want Heath here in Impact. Many notable names, from wrestling to entertainment, support this cause. Don't just take it from me.
You know, Heath is a wrestler, and all he's doing is trying to get a job with Impact Wrestling. I mean, come on, Impact Wrestling. Just hire Heath. Come on. I mean, Kit, I need you, buddy. They won't hire Heath. I know, it's ridiculous. Listen to your boy Flavor Flav. All right, Impact Wrestling. Y'all got me? Y'all know what time it is. Time for y'all to give Heath a job, man, and stop joking. All right, Scott Diamore, you got me?
This is Nancy Kerrigan, two-time Olympic figure skating Olympic medalist. And you know, an axle jump is quite difficult, but this one is easy. Give Heath a job. Hashtag Heath for Impact.
Hi, Scott Diamore. Do you want to hear Chuck North's fact? Well, I can make onions cry. And here's another. I can make you cry if you don't do the right thing and give Heath a job. Take it from me. Heath is a great wrestler and a black belt of a father.
The man needs money. He's got to put food on the table. You know why? Because the man got kids.
Yes, that's right. I didn't even want to say this, but my goodness, my truck got repoed last night.
What?
Yes.
You mean to tell me, Scott, you're going to let this man get his car repoed? This ain't like Bret Hart getting his jacket stolen by the repo man. This is Heath getting his actual truck stolen by a real repo man. You know, hashtag Heath for Impact. Heath for Impact. You're looking at the real deal now. Woo!
Woo! As you can see, there's widespread support for this cause. Fans, thank you for your part. But we need your continued support because this fight is not over until Heath has a contract.
And Impact Management, if you haven't been moved by this message, how in the world can you say no to these two beautiful faces?
Scott, you'd be stupid when my dad is not on Impact. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Way more people want Impact than my dad on it. Scott, my dad was wrestling 14 years. He does not know how to do anything else. Please let him have a chance. Yes, Scott.
Come on now.
Oh, we just got
My face fucking hurts from laughing so much.
We're totally flagged now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Copyright claim. There we go.
We're so fucked. I'm gonna have to make some calls tomorrow. Thanks, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hold on. All right. Yeah, go ahead and make those calls.
And roughly, they spent about roughly $600 to $700 on, or maybe even $800 on those cameos.
Yeah,
that looked up pretty much all those prices except for Chuck Norris. He's not available right now. And Hasselhoff is a $300 shot right there.
Wow.
In himself, wow. Yeah. So, and it was Chuck Norris, Hasselhoff, Kerrigan was $50. So that's a steal right there. And Flavor Flav was $250.
Shit.
Wow.
Jeez. I do love how they left the cameo watermark in those videos, though.
Yeah.
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 Because most likely they actually did pay Cameo. They just went through Cameo and just did it.
Right.
Because you give them what you want to say. So,
yeah.
I mean, they kind of have to use it.
Yeah.
Unlike us, who just kind of use whatever we feel like using without any.
We're the bad boys, baby. Was there anything else from Impact, or are we good? We're rolling.
That would be it.
All right.
So let's jump over into WWE NXT. Matt Michaels, what you got?
Best show on TV, man. Period. NXT every week delivers. You can't go wrong with. Finally, I think you guys are onto something. Adam Cole, I think, I said this about 2 weeks ago. Adam Cole's got to go up. It's time. Get him up. And Kyle O'Reilly now becomes the face of that group if they want to keep him. I think actually Roddy and Fish together would be a pretty damn good tag team.
Yeah.
And then bring in, have Kyle lead it and bring in like a monster, a bigger guy to be your enforcer. But that four-way was, it was great. I think NXT TakeOver is shaping up to be another show stealer.
Yeah.
Because go ahead.
That, but they have a return coming, so we'll see who that's going to be.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Because it's not necessarily specified exactly what they were talking about in terms of who, like this ex-champion. Is it the championship? Are they an ex-champion from, one of the other shows? Yeah. So, are they an ex-champion who was let go, during some of the layoffs and the furloughs and stuff? So, I mean, they did a nice little tease on that. Better than the SmackDown teases for what appears to be either Eva Marie or Maurice. So, but I think, listen, that Battle Royal to start off the show was solid. I think it's great that that some of the younger talent like Emily gets a chance to work TV match, to work a spot with Rhea, to get a chance to be with some of the seasoned women. That's great. And that was perfect for what they were doing in terms of setting it up. You make Rhea still looks strong, that elimination was awesome with her and Gonzalez. I wish they would call her Giant Gonzalez. And then make her wear one of those bodysuits like he had to wear. That would be fucking awesome. But I think in the end, really, if they're smart, put the belt on, put the North American title, whatever the fuck they call it, put it on Gargano, put the women's title on Candice, and start building that faction. She is, when you talk about someone who is a seasoned veteran who normally you would be going, man, she hasn't got a shot yet. Same thing with Gargano, right? He hasn't got, I haven't brought him up yet, et cetera, et cetera. This is the reason NXT works, is because when they have people who are solid, like Ciampa and Gargano and Candice LeRae, they're the foundation of that company. So if you took those guys away, then you have to keep trying to, build something. You have a cohesiveness to present your TV show with those guys. And that's why I'm leery about more people going from the main roster down to NXT, because you only have 2 hours and you're not, unless you did like a third, like a 1 hour showcase that's only on the network or something like that. Look at how many people you already go, dude, fucking Damian Priest, again, guy's on fucking fire. And he was good as Punishment Martinez. He was good, but he was just you kind of looked at him like, he's kind of an older guy. He's this character's fucking, the after party shit. You're seeing just why the show is solid. And here's what blows my mind. You can't then take that type of formula and that type of writing up to what Fox and USA are paying you millions of dollars to present. So I just, and again, I don't think there's any, listen, if you want to call it a war, whatever. The point of it is that between NXT's building of these, characters and storylines and the way they utilize that time, that 2 hours, there's not a better wrestling show on TV.
Yeah. Anybody else want to mention anything about the show that stood out to him?
He covered it all.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually would agree with you in part to one of your main statements that you made, Michaels. I think that it is, some weeks are better on the other show, some weeks are better on this show, but this week NXT definitely delivered. It was the best show on TV on, all of the among all of the brands.
Well, then let's jump right into AEW Sin City and tell us what your thoughts were on the show.
So obviously it was announced that Lance Archer had come into contact with somebody with COVID-19. Now, I thought that was really kind of clunky, the way that they divulged that specific type of information. Obviously, the one thing that is cool is they're being upfront with their audience about the real reason why people are not on the shows. So obviously you had Eddie Kingston subbed into the main event, which I think that was a really solid move. And they kept Kingston strong by the overall match finish. So it was smart the way that they did it. They didn't have him tap out to anything. They didn't have him, lose or consciously lose. He passed out to end the match. So I think that, that kept him somewhat strong. But again, it goes back to, and this time, obviously it wasn't intentional. It wasn't in the plans, but somebody debuts, a decent name debuts, and within a month, or in this case, 2 months, he's challenging for the world championship and he loses. So I think that it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point with AEW. Whenever they get somebody in there, whether or not they have plans to, strap a rocket to them and send them up to the top of the show, they do it. And it's frustrating. But that being said, at this point, I could only hope that they would have Miro's trajectory be anywhere near where freaking Eddie Kingston's is, because that was an absolutely piss poor fucking disappointing debut for Miro.
Yep, and it just keeps getting worse week by week.
What are you? Wait, no, you're talking about the match, right, Steve?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the
Lucky
match.
I think Lucky just took it back to like the debut.
No. I'm already whatever. That's the vehicle that they're going to debut him. That's fine. But this match was fucking abhorrent. Yeah. It was. Oh my god, dude! So many fucking botched spots. It looked clumsy as shit. Miro definitely looks like he's got ring rust, and it sucks to see.
Were you surprised that Sonny Kiss messed up that finisher? Because I've never seen him miss the T-bar before.
that should be his fucking finisher name.
Oh my God.
That should be his fucking finisher name.
I think it's back. I think it's back to dark for Kiss.
My God! She's giving the T-bar.
What the fuck, dude? Like, how difficult is it for Jim Ross?
Half of the commentary team calls Sonny Kiss a she, and then the other part a he.
Right. Well, it's not half. It's JR calling Sonny Kiss she.
Right.
The entire time. And, I'm not that person to get particular about fucking pronouns. Yeah. I'm not. Okay. But at the end of the day, come on, man. Like, you should at least try to make some sort of an effort.
Have the proper respect.
Especially for being a broadcast fucking journalist, and honestly, to me, it is a respect thing.
Let me ask you this.
Whether it's meant or not, it's unfortunate, but it's a respect thing at that point.
Yeah.
Do you think he's been talked to about that?
I would think so.
I would hope so. Yeah. And here's the thing is,
like, what if Sonny Kiss gave him the okay to say it doesn't, however you want to go with it.
Well,
if you want to
he should fall in line with everybody else.
Well, I'll get that. But what I'm saying is,
saying that it's one of those things where if that's the case, then I would feel better about Sonny Kiss actually addressing that and making that known.
Right.
Because
I just couldn't think that JR is just doing that. I mean, he could. I mean, by mistake all the time.
But it's got to be a will issue with him. It's not a knowledge thing. At this point, it has to be a will issue with JR. Has to be.
Yeah.
Well, I think what happens is, I think JR's he's watching, and he is not. It's not in his head. He just says what he sees, and Sonny is a gorgeous man. He really is. Not many people could pull off that look in the ring, and he has a great presence, and he is just one of those guys that you want that respect there. JR, I don't know, can you even pull JR aside at this point and say something to him? I personally, and this is maybe it's just the new school of thought, but if I was the owner of the company, I'd say, listen, you've messed up. All right. We get it. But at this point, I need you to be careful, because it's disrespectful. And at a certain point, I have to take an action. Defend your employee, basically.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know if Sonny's like, oh, that's fine. I get it. Fine, whatever. But from an outside looking in, what I think is most confusing too is that, let's face it, if a lot of your audience is that old TNT audience that is traditionally from the South, like, Turner was built on, if you're seeing Sonny Kiss, and it took forever to get him really a lot of exposure on TV, you're already fighting that stereotype. And then to have new eyes just turning in and to be hearing she and he, now it becomes confusing. It's a tough situation in terms of, but I've been saying it for a while. JR, great mind for the business, but at this point, man, go back, be at the gorilla position, be giving shit to whoever is your lead announcer, develop someone new at this point. Go get one of these guys, get Galley. I mean, someone like that. I mean, there's, Kirsch. I mean, there are good people out there who could be on a show like this and become the next JR.
I agree entirely. It's painfully obvious at this point that JR just needs to hang it up. And it pains me to say that. I mean, he, the voice of my childhood, and it sucks, and I know that we've had this as a 3-count discussion in the past, but it is what it is, man.
Any other topics about the show you guys want to throw out?
Yeah, Cody returned with black hair. Which, he's back.
I was surprised he didn't get another tattoo on the other side of his neck.
Yeah, for TV. I thought Isaiah Cassidy cut a good promo on Jericho. You can see Jericho trying to hold it together when he said, "You'll be my Le Champion bitch."
Yeah.
And just lastly, one other thing. I'm a fan of Kenny Omega, but him being on TV weekly now is kind of taking some of the shine off of, how he was before this whole thing came about.
Go ahead, Steve, please.
I just
lucky. I really wish I knew sometimes just what the fuck was influencing those little hamsters or gerbils spinning the fucking wheel up in your head. I really wish I knew.
Listen, if they were going to do the cleaner, okay, because that's where all these things were leading to,
right?
You had no idea what the cleaner was until you fucking stumbled upon someone on the dirt sheets saying the cleaner. Now that's all you can say is the cleaner.
Bro, I actually watched him. So it's ludicrous that you think I didn't. But I'm kind of disappointed by where this whole thing is going.
What, that they're taking a long-term booking approach?
I guess. All right.
No, it's obvious that it's a slow burn and something that they're building at this point. I'm glad that, quite frankly, we're not seeing Kenny Omega in a wrestling capacity every single week. But I think having him as part of the show and, storyline furthering segments, there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, that's what you should be doing, because you're spiraling him off and sending him on a completely new career path at this point. You need to do that. Otherwise, people won't invest in it.
All right. Good points.
Plus, what they should do, get JR out of the booth, put JR with Hangman, and just have those two always on a fucking bender together. And JR just stumbling over his words as his manager. That would be great.
What you're saying is to take the Oklahoma gimmick from WCW and make it Jim Ross.
Yes.
Oh.
Well fucking done, Michaels. Well fucking done. Continuity.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. I guess that's all.
He could just keep referring to him as Dr. Death. Dr. Death, tell me, man. When do you go out there today? Oh, shit.
Oh, man. Okay. That's AEW, right? That's it?
It's AEW.
All right. So I guess with that, we've hit the wrestling. You haven't been watching any obscure wrestling shows, King, like have you? Or
not obscure.
Okay.
How obscure are you talking? Because there's a particular genre on a particular hub site that I'm sure that Lucky's a fan of.
Oh, sure.
That'd be, baby.
At least not today, right?
That's funny.
Well, just a little bit of sad news. We did lose another wrestler this past week, Joe Laurinaitis, WWE Road Warrior Animal. And, you know, I'm going to let Matt Michaels speak on this some, but I will tell you this. You know, watching WWF this back in the day, I got started really, really early. And I just remember, you know, watching the Road Warriors and was huge fans of watching their work in the ring. And, you know, it was actually pretty sad during the time when they, you know, when they were no longer in the business, as I know many people had to move on during that time. As a kid, you don't understand that. You know, you just wonder why why your favorite's not on TV anymore, but you knew you enjoyed when you watched them. And so, but just reading a lot of stories about Joe and him being a great father and a family man is just really was just sad to hear what happened at the age of 60. Matt Michaels, if you could just give us just a little bit of information on this legend.
Well, I think it's interesting to hear your perspective because of the fact you come from a perspective of purely WWF.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of us who were of the age where, you know, when you first got turned on to WWF, around, you know, 1985, 1986, you also then saw, because of its popularity, then you saw the other, you know, whether it be WCCW or AWA or NWA, and you sought out the other wrestling, right? And the Road Warriors, what you knew them as was the Legion of Doom. You know,
right?
That was your, you know,
sure.
Your introduction to them. To us, the Road Warriors were something that was non-existent at all. At that time, the WWF had already had Demolition, and they already had the comparable tag team that they, you know, brought in the Powers of Pain. But when the Road Warriors were in the AWA and the NWA, Night of the Skywalkers, I mean, shit, you know, scaffolding matches and you know, they were doing all of what was considered PG hardcore. You know, the stuff that eventually, you know, basically everything that went on to be hardcore and what Japan expanded into the, you know, the everyday, just absurd, crazy bloodbaths. The Road Warriors were just these unbelievable Mad Max characters,
right,
that also had Paul Ellering, who was one of those managers, unlike a Bobby Heenan or a Jim Cornette. He was someone who was stern, solid, and you believed, instead of being a character, it was, these guys were real, even though they were over the fucking top in, you know, face paint and, you know, Mad Max idealistic of this, you know, they were the toughest son of the bitches that you could ever imagine as a kid, especially when you got guys like, you know, the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express and the Freebirds and stuff, the Von Erichs. No one had that. These guys had this just unbelievable presence. By the time they got to the WWF, Vince really capitalized on appealing to taking that cartoon aspect of them and making them a marketable product to kids. So their whole image kind of changed. And by 1992, when they were coming out for SummerSlam, they've got the dummy Rocco now, you know? So, and by that time too, this is when you started getting stories about Mike Hegstrom not being functional, that he was either so drunk or doped up or whatever, that they had a hard time executing. That match in SummerSlam 92 was an example of a match that Hawk was fucked up and they really had to change shit up. Which is admirable to Joe's personality, because that man stood by Mike through everything.
Yeah.
Everything, man.
Yeah.
And even when they, when companies would try to make each of them single stars, and a lot of them gravitated to trying to make Hawk a single star because he was the one who had, the what a rush and had that voice and, was kind of where you could see, okay, yeah, this guy's going to be a star. Joe was the solid foundation.
Right.
And he was the reliable one. He was the one who was there to, take care of him. When Mike passed away, you would have thought that that was it. But Joe comes back, and now they do the Road Warriors. And obviously they tried it when, it was 98, 99. They tried it with draws. And it wasn't clicking that well. And Mike was still around, and it just wasn't working. But when Mike passed away and you brought in Heidenreich, and I'll tell you right now, John Heidenreich, having known him in my class when he was green, he was someone who took in a lot, but he was very limited. He wasn't, you didn't see, he wasn't a John Cena. He didn't have all this charisma and stuff. Joe took a guy like John Heidenreich and made him an equal, and actually they got the belts, man. You can't say anything more to that man's dedication to the business than to be able to, in tribute to his former tag team partner, continue the tradition and help elevate someone else. And everyone loved the guy. He would make appearances on the different shows over the years for different companies, and then towards the last 5 or so years doing a lot of conventions and independent shows where signings and appearances and that kind of stuff. Every single person who's ever run into him felt the same way, and that was, you never met a better dude.
Right.
Just a really good guy.
Yeah.
And on top of that, boy, you're rooting for his son. His son at Ohio State was fucking amazing, Steve. You could appreciate that.
Yep.
And he had a really decent career with the Rams. And so it's amazing how talented that family, and then of course with John being his brother, John Laurinaitis being his brother, you could never think of two polar opposites of people,
right?
So it's sad. 60 is, I think Mike was 42 when he passed away. So, to see Animal go at 60 it's just a shame. It's a little bit of a shock to know that Paul Ellering is now the only one around from that tradition and lineage. And I think in the end, you have two guys who basically influenced, no matter who it was, who got into wrestling, especially for tag teams, from the mid 80s all the way to the early 2000s. So they basically laid a blueprint that has allowed for all the, you know, wonderful tag teams that you've seen, you know, for the last 20 to 30 years. And, you know, let's face it, they were, you know, they were bar brawling, bouncing, you know, type of guys, man, who could party and kick ass. And eventually, you know, we're going to go through a lot of these legends passing away. And we're never going to have that same type of character and persona that they were at a time where you still didn't know that much about the business. The curtain wasn't pulled back yet.
Right.
And if you were a little kid, holy fuck, those guys could scare the shit out of you,
man. Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's a loss, but
yeah.
I'll tell you right now, you know, every wrestler out there who put some kind of tribute up to them, it all came from the heart. And there were thousands upon thousands of, you know, you just scroll through social media and everyone just was affected in some way by him.
Absolutely. You know, and it's even great when you see even, you know, AEW now when they show their tributes, because it wasn't like, you know, that, you know, he was affiliated in that organization. So when you see other wrestling companies do that too, they just show the respect that they have for people within the industry and everything. So as we say, gone but not forgotten. Oh, go ahead, man.
And one of the quick things too that you got to realize too, the Road Warriors were one of the, outside of Bruiser Brody and Abdullah and Stan Hansen, the Road Warriors were really the first tag team that the Japanese fucking audience took to, man. And again, they opened a whole new fucking door for American wrestlers to go over to Japan.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, we've gotten through our wrestling talk for today. We thank everyone for tuning in and listening. If you are watching our live feed, we thank you for watching Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch. We appreciate all of you. And if you was on our live feed, comment feed tonight, we thank you for that as well. And even our listeners right now listening to this on our podcast, we thank you for listening and tuning in. With that, we will be back next week with Wrestling Talk. And until then, we'll see you next time.
Okay. And as we kind of wrap that up for a second here, and DJ gets everything set, we're going to do 3 count. We got some good topics coming up on 3 count.
Yes.
And then we've also got another DJ special that I want to fucking kill you for.
A DJ special?
Yeah, making me go through a bunch of fucking an article that was written by someone that I would just want to fucking a list.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kill a dude. Every time I try to click on something, some other fucking thing pops up.
Oh yeah. You know what's funny? Because you guys look at it on your phones, and most of the time I pull those up from a laptop. But it's the same thing with me. It's just that I have a bigger screen. I can only imagine what you all are dealing with on that phone. So I know, my apologies on that. Anyway, we'll be ready to go in about 20 seconds. All right. Here. No.
And anyone who happens to be watching right now, please, I encourage you, go and rent, or more importantly, purchase You Cannot Kill David Arquette. One of the best documentaries around. On Friday, October 2nd, we're going to have an interview with Christina Arquette. She's David's wife and also a producer of the film. We get into a lot of the going-ons and what David was actually going through in terms of trying to redeem himself in the eyes of the fans. And, for something that happened 20 years ago that people hated and despised, the fact that he had the belt. And remember, he had the belt for all of, I believe it was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he is more despised than any heel for that 2 weeks.
Right.
So it's a fascinating story. There's a lot of inside. There's stuff on there that you're going to hear that you might not have heard before that, has been shared from Christina. We also talk about an upcoming movie that comes out on Friday 2nd, and that's 12-Hour Shift. 12-Hour Shift is a dark comedy that they produced. David's one of the stars of the film. It also has Mick Foley in the film, and it's going to be fucking kick-ass. It's a great. It's a dark comedy about a hospital and organ harvesting. So you can't go wrong with that right there. But please check out the interview on Friday. And I'll tell you right now, sometimes when you have people talk about something, promote something, you just get the basics. Christina really just, we got insight into the family and the dynamic, and it's a very, very fascinating interview.
Absolutely. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact, and I got a few of the bad boys here with me. King Lucky, Sin City Steve, and Matt Michaels is with us, and this is our 3 count. Let's get right into it. WrestlingInc.com and many other sources were with a title that says new data on why adults are no longer watching pro wrestling. Now, it's pretty interesting because last week we talked on Eric Bischoff saying that he believed that most wrestling fans were now going into politics and watching that because it's kind of similar into what goes on there. But the Variety Intelligence platform has a new article looking at 4 main issues facing WWE that are threatening the company's bottom line. And it was noted that, yes, the stock may continue to fall over the next few months based on 4 issues the company is facing. 1, the decline in TV ratings. 2, the decline in kids' audience. 3, money owed from the 10-year deal with Saudi Arabia. And 4, the backlash over the independent contractor status of talents, mainly the recent comments from the former Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang. It also mentioned in this particular article that regarding the TV decline, VIP noted that WWE Raw has lost around 2 million viewers for most of their 2020 episodes versus the 2015 levels. Exclusive data from posters YouGov shows that the main reasons behind the decline has to do with low quality writing of storylines. All right, so 3 different polls they had. They had the YouGov poll, 471 adults age 18 or older who used to watch at least one of WWE, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, or AEW Dynamite. So that was one of them. Another poll was YouGov polled 1,200 adults age 18 or older on the viewing status of pro wrestling among adults in the United States. And also YouGov asked the age of 18 or older who no longer watch pro wrestling about wrestling shows they used to watch. So now, fellas, going back to the very first one, which I tell you, I'm pretty I was pretty shocked looking at. YouGov polled 471 adults age 18 or older who used to watch at least one WWE, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, or AEW Dynamite. And the following data on reasons why in the United States viewers stop watching pro wrestling on TV. 30% of them said it seemed more cartoonish than when I liked it. I don't know how I feel about that. Cartoonish.
Can I really quick take?
No, please take it.
Very simple for me. A very simple answer, and that is anyone in this poll. It's bullshit because the AEW factor and them saying that marks my bullshit call. Because how can you say a product is more cartoony when you're looking at a company that hasn't even been around, probably within a year, right?
Right.
So you're looking at someone who might have watched AEW and is comparing it to Attitude Era. Well, of course it's going to look fucking cartoony. They're a new goddamn company that's trying shit out and doesn't have any, and you don't know these characters on top of it.
Right.
So I don't know, man. And if like under 500 people, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, still, 29% said storyline were not as good. 28% said characters were not as good or interesting. 26% said matches were not as good or interesting. 14% said the content was more geared towards children. I don't know. It just I couldn't relate to any of these, and I guess I wouldn't fall into that because this says who used to watch, and I still watch, but I don't see in any of these percentages where I don't know. 12% was not even sure why they stopped watching it.
So
I mean, go ahead, Sin City, please.
No, so obviously 30% say it seems more cartoonish than when I liked it.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have 14% of people saying the content was more geared toward children. So obviously it's neither one of those things because cartoonish things resonate more with fucking children.
And on top of that, it also shows that those people who allegedly haven't watched in a long time. So the only link I can make is that when they watched, it was 99, 2000, 2001, 2002. They might not have watched a fucking wrestling match since 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. Except for Lucky, who's going to be like, no, they're right on, man.
Well, what would you say, King Lucky? It says they say they also polled 1,200 adults age 18 or older on the viewing status of pro wrestling among adults. 43% says I've never watched any show or series. Another 43% said I used to watch professional wrestling, but no longer do. 12% says I currently watch professional wrestling regularly or occasionally, and 2% don't seem to know what they do. So, what's your take on this, man? What is these numbers saying? I'm confused.
I don't know. I think in this day and age, it's kind of tough to really lean on ratings. And I've said this before because there's so many different ways to consume programming nowadays. And so to me, it's, at some point, I think ratings will probably be off the table just because, they'll be there, but I don't think they'll be a big deal. We know that the audience has dwindled down a little bit. And your main program, which was the standard before AEW came along, just pissed some people off. Quite frankly, they insulted their intelligence and, the storylines weren't that great. So eventually they moved on to other interests. There's a lot of quality TV right now. So,
yeah, but what's interesting, Lucky, is that first part of that poll, people were saying that, the storylines aren't as realistic as they were. But yet at the same time, kind of what Steve pointed out, but it's so cartoonish. And it's like, wait a minute. Yeah, it's
something's wrong with the poll too.
Well, and now I mean, so it says YouGov shows the main reasons behind the decline has to do with low quality rating and storylines, and I don't know, like, so okay, so I guess you can't. I guess it's factual, right? I'm assuming that they have lost around 2 million of their viewers since 2015. So, okay, we could say that's a fact. They've lost a big chunk of viewers. Are they then saying that the reason why 2 million decide to leave was because the writing was just horrible?
Yes.
No, I don't.
That to me.
So okay, here's the thing. I think legitimately there could be a very serious indictment there, because the only kind of parallel that I can draw, and I keep going back to the it seems more cartoonish than when I liked it. You know, Super Cena became a meme because he was so, you know, he was so unbeatable. But at the same time, he also, you know, The Rock called him Fruity Pebbles because he was wearing like all these bright colored shirts and all that other kind of stuff in the name of the merch machine, which is cool. That's fine. But at the end of the day, that's kind of the parallel that I can see, is that indirectly or directly, they're speaking about John Cena and the rise of John Cena, and the fact that there was a period in time there where John Cena just didn't fucking lose. And if you weren't a fan of his,
yeah, but the survey now though is geared towards why they're not watching it now.
Right.
So,
and I can't tell you how many times I've had people say that John Cena is a cartoon character, because literally like nothing kills him. Like he's unstoppable. Super Cena is legitimately a meme. And the thing that I really think that we need to take a look at this poll about is they started with a giant pie of 1,200 people. Okay. 43% of people had never watched any wrestling whatsoever. So you take those out of the poll. You take the people that currently watch, the 12%, and then the 2 that don't know what fucking planet they're on.
Right.
And so that little slice of pie, that 43% of people that are gone, why are they gone? And obviously that's what they're trying to go for, but we really do need to figure it out.
But in that poll, they don't. That's the problem. It's 3 different polls.
No. So here's the thing is, so they started with the pool of the 1,200, and then they disqualified the 43% that had not watched it, because 43% of 1,200 equals roughly 471.
What I'm saying though is YouGov polled 471 adults ages 18 or older. That was the first poll. The second poll is they polled 1,200 adults, and there's nothing. It's just about the status of their viewing. So there's nothing on why they stopped wrestling other than I used to watch it, but I no longer do.
Mm-hmm.
You say those are not the same people who say I stopped watching it because. And then they had the third poll, which was another 652 adults. And that's when they the data collected about wrestling that you used to watch: 55% Raw, 55% SmackDown, 10% NXT, 3% AEW Dynamite, and 28% none of them.
They're quick to give up on fucking AEW, huh?
But no matter what,
shit with the Dork Order, right, Lucky?
Order, baby.
But regardless of how we choose to slice and dice these polls, the fact is viewership is down, way down.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody likes to point the finger and say, oh, ratings don't matter. People get their wrestling product from different avenues, blah, blah, blah. Cool. I get it. But at the end of the day, that's the only kind of relevant indicator that we have. And as far as advertisers are concerned and revenue generation is concerned, those are the numbers that they go off of, are the ratings numbers and the demographics numbers.
Okay, but the counter to that is that this whole damn thing, and this is why I was mad about this article, is because it specifically says that the main issues threatening the company's bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The ratings decline, is not affecting their bottom line right now because they already have their upfront deals. All right. So
yeah, they got the blood money.
Right.
So they're good.
And speaking of the blood money, though,
Right.
is that's what they want to figure in, is that the money owed from the 10-year deal and the backlash, which this is total bullshit, the backlash over the independent contractor status. Who the fuck is not watching wrestling because, you know what, I feel bad because, you know what, I'm not going to watch it because they're independent contractors, they're getting screwed.
Michaels, it's 2020. The outrage mob is a real thing. Trust me. That's a perfectly viable explanation in 2020, brother.
Those 6 people, and the site that Andrew Yang said something, it's like,
right.
You know, okay, whatever. I mean, listen, most of those people who are following Andrew Yang's lead on this don't even know who the fuck that Jimmy Wang Yang was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying this poll, the article wants to highlight 4 things, but then never does anything about the final 2. It just wants to point out the ratings. And if you're looking at the overall bottom line, that Saudi money has more to do with anything, as well as the XFL having gone bankrupt. Because they put in money from the company that they said they weren't going to put in. I mean, let's be realistic here. These poll fucking services can fucking go.
Yeah, and what bothers me the most is everyone is. It's always comes down to everything is just the storyline. You know, if you've been watching, you know, wrestling or WWE from the late 80s to, let's say, you know, even 2015, and they've had that long stretch of what's that, a little over 20 years, almost close to 30 years, that they kept a fan base. During that time, you're going to have storylines, the same ones, just sort of reoccurring during that, within those years. You know, people are watching it. They are, you know, they're enjoying it. New storylines also are coming up within that. But then you take the last 5 years and say, now everybody is saying that what we enjoyed the last 30 years, we're not going to enjoy the past 5 years. So all 2 million is just going to just walk away. It just seems it.
And the other thing on top of that, DJ, I think you're absolutely right with that. But the other factor is that this poll doesn't tell us that those people have watched anything new. Let's say if they, you know, saw something in 2011, right?
Right.
So if they haven't watched anything new, how do they even know that any storylines are different?
Right.
How do you get those people back, Steve? That's the thing. If you were turned off by Cena, fine. But John Cena is not involved anymore. So you can't blame Cena. It's just that I really think that this is one of those examples of wrestling fans are wrestling fans, right? We even say AEW and NXT, right? They share a lot of the same audience that same night. Okay. People who are, and I'm glad you brought the ratings into it this week, DJ, because SmackDown all of a sudden rebounded hugely. Now, is it because all of a sudden 1 million more people decided to tune in because of this, that, or the other? Or, well, is it part of that Roman Reigns, as well as maybe Fox's fact that they have football that just fucking started back up, and now they can show those commercials during the big draw of football? There's other fucking factors than it's the writing.
Right, exactly. And that's the point I was getting to either. It just gets annoying that it's all, oh, it's just bad writing. Man, get out of here.
And let's face it.
That's what got me out of the product for a while.
Right. But you know what? The thing with you, Steve, though, is you're also unique. Because but you also, don't forget, by going out of the product, you also continue to watch wrestling.
Other wrestling.
Exactly. But you still watch wrestling.
Correct.
Whereas this is basically, you're taking people who are pretty much, because again, AEW's only been around for a year. So how familiar are people with that product? Exactly. So you're talking people, it's targeted at the WWE. And in the end, those people are not wrestling fans who dropped off. And the people who want to go back and say, well, it's because it's cartoonish, it's not this, and not that. I want to remind those people that the golden fucking age of wrestling that they're so dear about, the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars, we eventually saw a fucking hand being given birth to. We saw a pee-pee get chopped up. We saw literally JR's head getting pulled out of his ass. This is not golden fucking TV. So
don't ever forget Bedpan McMahon either.
Yeah.
That was the single greatest beatdown.
Yeah. You can keep going, man.
And even in the hospital beatdown, don't forget that introduced us to Yerpel the Clown and Mr. Sacco, which would come back when they then did the Rock This Is Your Life, and now you're bringing out this huge segment that does all these numbers, and it's looked at as then one of the worst segments ever done. So yeah.
All right, well, let's jump over into our second count. And this article is from 7 days ago. It's from TWNP Wrestling News. They titled it, Will Pro Wrestling Bounce Back from the Coronavirus Pandemic? It mentions that with WWE recently revealing record income increases in their Q2 financial calls, there was some positives and negatives. Of course, some of the positives was the increase in operating income they made. They saw a large increase in paid subscribers to the WWE network and an increase of e-commerce sales. However, their revenue was down for the quarter, and social media numbers were down for the first time ever. Most concern involved with the ratings, with Raw having routinely posted all-time low throughout the pandemic and having just this week posted the lowest rated third hour for a Raw show in history. And then you add to the falling ratings for SmackDown since the big money move to Fox last year. There were some concerning signs for the company. They also mentioned that when you when you're looking more broadly at wrestling landscape as a whole, AEW, NXT battle it out over the largely unmoved 1.7 million fans who tune in to Wednesday nights, and there's really no real growth for each audience base. It also kind of talks about with the new normal that they're saying that will happen with limits on gathering and social distancing. It seems promotions have little choice but to continue with little to no fans in attendance. It talks about how WWE and AEW and Impact Wrestling have been running shows with little or no fans. It also talks about how in Japan, New Japan have been running shows with most recently up to 50% of the audience in attendance, all socially distanced, no cheering or booing allowed. That's got to be pretty interesting. And it did reference that although this has worked in the country, it's hard to believe these rules would be adhered elsewhere. Exactly, right? So the real questions are that he's asking is this, and this is what I'm asking you all. If wrestling has to continue to no fans for the long term, how do most companies survive? So that's question A. And then question B is, but if fans are allowed back to shows, will they return? I'll ask answer the last question. Will they return eventually? But as of right now, no. And I, as a fan who attends shows, who's been to Mania 15, 16, 19, and 23 through 36 or 35, whichever one was before this one this year, who's been to a lot of shows. Every show that came into the Vegas since I've been here in 2004, house shows, ROH shows, Impact Wrestling shows. So I'm a person that attends shows. I'm not one of the ones that don't really attend shows going, oh, I'm not going to attend one. I'm a fan of wrestling shows, even our local based shows as well. I could tell you that as of right now, if they open up their doors, as we know they have in Florida, I would not be running to a show right now. But will I? Eventually I will. But that begs the question, how does everybody else feel about this? And will pro wrestling bounce back from the coronavirus pandemic? What do you guys think? He's asking two questions. How do companies survive if wrestling has to continue to no fans for the long term? And when they are back, will they come?
Well, I mean, you look at certain companies like NWA right now, they're shelved, but they've created deals with, AEW. They've kind of let their talent work there. They also have, the deal with Dave Marquez. So this is a way to keep those places relevant. And then,
but that's a bad example.
Yes, but
I say that is because the reason that they stopped doing what they were doing wasn't necessarily because of coronavirus. It was because of the fact that Lagana got his fucking hands caught in the cookie jar with the, that's not a great example. But to your point, in some manner, this article is focusing on the WWE for the most part, right? Here's the problem. I've said it before. The WWE is a monster corporation. All right. The idea that it doesn't survive is, it's way out there. Okay. But it doesn't survive if talent isn't developed. They got NXT. So they can bring people into NXT and train them. They're set. AEW will hopefully be moving along those lines, as we're seeing with potentially the Nightmare Academy. So they might be set as well. The big problem is fans going back to local events, local wrestlers, independent wrestlers. These are the people that they should be concerned about, because those wrestlers are your future wrestlers. And if they can't do it locally, then they have to get a job, training through NXT or getting hired into WWE or AEW. That's it. That's the biggest concern.
Well, you look at it, I mean, I can think of probably multiple shows that ran this weekend and have run over the last couple of months, and more that are slated. So that's kind of where I was getting to, is that you're going to see these shows start to open up and people starting to do shows more and more. So will it bring fans back? I think they're already back on a local level.
But they're at a low capacity.
Yeah.
The problem comes down to this. Again, WWE, do they need that stream of income when they have certain other incomes coming in? No. But does a smaller company that's working in Indiana and they lose 200 of the 300 fans, now they can't pay their talent.
Mm-hmm.
Then they end up folding. That's the problem. This is looking at a company. It's like going, okay, Lucky, you produce independent films. All right. And the pandemic has really strapped you because you can't do production. But boy, I'm so concerned that Disney won't survive.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really great parallel, Matt. No, seriously, like that's
Yeah.
that puts everything into perspective exactly. And I think that ultimately what it comes down to is you're starting to see local federations start to, you know, check with local businesses and local entities for sponsorship deals and things like that. I mean, you know, FSW, they've got 5 sponsors for, you know, their shows every single week. It's awesome to see. And I think that more promotions are going to have to adopt that similar style of sponsorship. Otherwise, shit's not going to last long.
And
So.
mainly to piggyback on that, which is a great point. And this goes to something they didn't bring up. You're talking about they're trying to put it in the perspective of the fans coming back, and also putting it in the perspective a little bit of ratings and, you know, this kind of stuff we were talking about before. One of the big factors, though, is the WWE or AEW will be able to, once the bigger venues allow people to come back in, they'll be able to do 20-30% of the house. Don't do dark shows anymore. Okay. You're going to have to figure out how that income gets made up for, but you're already kind of trying to figure that out now because you have nothing running. So the question is, these bigger places, when will they open? And will people come back to them? The answer is yes. The other thing is that the WWE don't do house shows because you're going to drive up your demand for those pay-per-views, especially at a reduced rate. So those people who are willing to pay $1,000 to $2,000 when they come back, when you can sit whatever is closest ringside, that's how you're making your money back. You're charging a higher rate, and those people who will pay are going to go, which leaves your average family out. The same thing with smaller promotions. You're going to only be able to run a fucking gymnasium. So if you can only have a house of 50 people, you can't charge those people fucking $200 to get in. So you're not making anything off your gate if you're a small company. And someone like FSW, you had a gold mine in being able to run casino shows. Not a lot of the other, we're biased to having FSW and to having, Marquez and, the venues that Championship Wrestling from Hollywood run, and what they're doing in the NWA at Long Beach. These are, examples of bigger places, but most of the independents don't have these big places. So, I'm not worried about the WWE. I'm not worried about AEW. I'm worried about the heart and soul of what makes the next level of wrestlers, 20 years from now. The people that, the people who should be watching the product, but really getting inspired by seeing it up close. And even if there was no pandemic, let's face it, to take your family, especially if you have more than one kid, to a live event of any kind is a lot of fucking money. So it's relying on your kids watching TV and watching TV wrestling to enjoy wrestling. But if you really want to be a wrestler, when you get the bug is when you first go into your first live show. And that's the thing. And that first live show could be, Sally Sue versus Billy Smith at the fucking local gymnasium in fucking Pig Knuckles, Arkansas, And that could, from going to watch that show, you could have someone who ends up being a top tier wrestler 20 years later.
I just hope that the people who were attending local events eventually come back.
Definitely.
And not say, and I'm not going to even say that they definitely will come back, because when you do have a long period of time of not being able to do something, sometimes you just become accustomed to that new thing and just not be a part of it anymore. So now the reason why they probably got into it in the first place is just because at the time, I mean, as we know, pre-pandemic, wrestling was big, so it's just to be a part of it was great. Now, those same people, it still don't have the heart or love for it anymore. So it's going to take a minute to try to grab those people back to the local shows, but I hope eventually they do come back, because it is going to be important for the survival of indie wrestling.
Well, not just indie wrestling, bro. It's wrestling as a whole. I mean,
well, true. But like he said, WWE, you're not worried about too much.
Right, but where's WWE getting those talents?
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So basically, what has inadvertently happened is that the well was inadvertently poisoned. To draw a parallel, I mean, it's one of those things where certain companies are going to end up going out of business as a result of financial issues. Yeah. So where does that leave that roster? Where does that leave those fans that normally would go out to watch them? And inevitably the kids in the audience that think,
right,
hey, mom and dad, take me to this, and then decide, hey, I'm going to be that. It's one of those things where we truly, well, we didn't, but the well has been poisoned.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too is that, don't forget, the WWE has already started to find other avenues for revenue stream by telling the wrestlers, hey, you can't do cameo.
Slameo. I'm telling you that they should just, Bruce, you guys should just call it Slameo and just call it a day. I'll take a small check. I don't even need anything big. For coming up with that idea, WWE Slameo. It's
Steve, they can't cut you a check due to financial insecurities at this time right now. But
well fucking played.
Thank you. But you will be fourth row corner left screen monitor 78.
Limited Thunderdome.
Limited viewing.
In addition to getting free network access for life.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be some shit that they would pull.
More than the Hall of Famer gets.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll jump over into our third count, and hopefully this won't irritate Matt Michaels or Sin City Steve too much. I know King Lucky get a kick out of this. I did. Whatculture.com.
King Lucky's just used to having all that spyware on his fucking smartphone anyway. from having to click through all these ads.
Yeah. Right. Whatculture.com titled 10 Wrestlers Fans Hate It for Dumb Reasons. Boy, I love that, because I was like, I got to see if this guy, if we on the same page.
It's on money, huh?
Say it again?
I said if he hits the nail on the
head.
head.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So he says, look, many wrestlers have suffered unjust distaste for things that really shouldn't be noticeable. This hatred tends to grow to a point where the performers can struggle to escape this critique no matter how hard they try. Sometimes superstars can't get away with anything because once the crowd has decided that they have done something wrong, it never leaves them. In many cases, the reason for hating these wrestlers is outright dumb. Okay, number 10. Roman Reigns is bad on the mic.
False.
Come on.
He's come a long way, but it is false.
He was bad on the mic as a babyface.
Okay, can we just be honest? It wasn't that he was bad on the mic. Everyone was pissed off that he was getting shoved down their throats.
Right,
this stupid fucking thing. I'm proven right on the first goddamn thing. Who's the
next one?
Hey, I would say this though. Well, no, I'm gonna let you have that one. Let me go down. No.
Suffering succotash, son.
Yeah. Let me jump over to this one. Number 9. Baron Corbin is bad at his job. Now, how many people have said that, which I don't agree with?
Yeah.
He's one of the best heels on the fucking roster.
Right. Yes, this proves the
He's
point.
amazing at his job.
That's right. 10 wrestlers fans hate it for dumb reasons. This is one of them. Just proving that. Good job.
What? They're saying he's bad at his job. His job is to get people to hate him. He's
amazing at his job.
Fucking good at that.
Yeah.
So this person's wrong again. That's 2. That's 2, DJ.
I was pretty deep in the list before I found one that I was,
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Next.
Next.
Wait. What? All right, say that again, Matt Michaels. What you're saying? Because he says fans don't like Baron Corbin, and there's a consensus that this is because he is terrible at his job. Okay.
Right. He's not bad at his job.
Right.
He gets people
It's
to hate
kayfabe.
him because
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
I got you,
kayfabe.
okay.
They're writing him to be the
Got you.
insufferable heel that everybody hates.
No, I got you.
And
now.
he's
Okay.
executing that role flawlessly.
Right. No doubt.
The
Okay.
writer of this article doesn't get
The writer of this article
Right.
is at first, dude, Lucky, here you go. Congratulations. You got number 2.
Number 8.
You got citizen number 2 in your fucking kingdom.
We don't even want that motherfucker.
Rey Mysterio should have been Daniel Bryan.
Fuck out of here.
What the fuck does that even mean?
That means that they didn't bring Daniel Bryan back when everybody thought that they should, and Ray got the unfortunate the unfortunate drawing of being number 30, so he was booed for one fucking show. Fucking show. And yes, they're saying that the crowd hates Rey Mysterio. Get fucked.
Like who hates Rey Mysterio Jr.?
No one.
Period. Right?
No one.
And
But
even
King Lucky hates the Mysterio family.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, let me just say this. I'm a Rey Mysterio fan, okay? Even when he came out in the Royal Rumble at number 30, I didn't boo it.
Right.
Okay? But what I am...
I'm sure you didn't cheer it either, knowing who you are.
No.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it was widely known that Daniel Bryan was supposed to be the last, the fans wanted it. But I didn't have an issue with it.
Gotcha.
But I do have an issue with how much his family's on TV right now. I mean, yeah.
And that's a whole different issue.
Yeah, that's a whole different issue.
Yeah.
But one of the things he had to stretch to actually kind of make it seem like he made sense with this is that was the 2014 Royal Rumble. Then he says, thankfully, it took almost no time at all for him to separate from this reception, which, like Steve said, one day. He would end up leaving the company and returning in 2018 to a much better pop. If you leave the company and you come back and you're already a beloved established wrestler, what were they going to do? Boo you because in 2014 they wanted Daniel Bryan in one fucking match? Blow me. That's 3 this guy.
Next.
Number 7, Seth Rollins is stale because he's a babyface.
That's not true either.
10 wrestling fans hate it for dumb reasons.
I didn't hate Seth Rollins as a babyface.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
I was just whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's better.
I never hated him. It was
nobody hated him.
Yeah, it was just I was apathetic toward him. He didn't give a shit.
So, and his wording here is his run was indeed incredibly uninspired, and Rollins lacked fire, which is okay. There's a difference between lacking fire and appearing that you have more fire because you're a heel, right? Babyface is a different fucking animal. So get the two fucking straight, first off. And then you say, from his Universal title run, you could kind of understand this point. However, it was factually inaccurate because Rollins had recently been thriving as a face champ. Whoa, okay, so he thrived as a face champ, but you're saying the fans hated him as a face champ. So how the fuck did he thrive if they hated him? And then number two, he was getting pushed like Roman Reigns to the point where they're like, okay, maybe I don't want to see this right now. I've seen it for a while. I.e., to your point, Steve, about Cena going back all those years, you know, it's not that they hate it because of what he's doing. Exactly. It's what the office is giving them.
1,000%. Yeah. And that was something I tried to make perfectly clear when I spoke about Cena. Mm-hmm. I had, you know, I wasn't speaking about John Cena, the guy. I was speaking about John Cena, the fictional creation.
10 wrestlers fans hate it for dumb reasons. Number 6, Randy Orton doesn't like the indies.
Well, listen. I think when he does, you know, kind of work shoot, you know, on different stuff, like they just had the Gargano thing not too long ago. I can see how some people would be, you know, pissed at that. But, I mean, I don't see it as a major issue. People love Randy Orton. You know, they respect how good of a worker he is. So I don't think he's hated for it.
Sorry to the indie marks, says Randy Orton. Indie guys and old timers who do dives took offense. So enjoy your flips, dives, and 20 super kicks per match. To each their own. I will go dive back in my 13th title run and get ready to flip when my bank statement comes this month.
So let me ask you this question, DJ. Do you think that this guy who wrote this article knows the difference between a heel character and a face character? And does he know the difference when Randy Orton is saying something to incite heat? Fuck this guy, man.
The guy is still waiting for his mom to bring his peanut butter and jelly sandwich down to the basement.
Dude, literally, I don't think anybody has told this guy that wrestling's fucking fake.
You know, Lucky, you just made a great point, too. He's the kind of guy who his mom keeps making him tuna fish sandwiches and putting them in his, let's say his, you know, John Cena lunchbox. The biggest John Cena fan, but because the tuna fish sandwich is in that lunchbox and it smells like tuna and he hates tuna fish and he's forced to eat it every day, he now hates John Cena. Yeah. You're reaching, bro. Whoever wrote this, whoever you are, you're reaching, bro.
10 wrestlers fans hate it for dumb reasons. Number 5, Batista dared to return to wrestling and wear blue.
No.
Did any of you guys actually ever hear that?
No.
I heard Blue Tista.
We just mocked him because it became a meme, Blue Tista. That's it.
But nobody
there was no harm meant by the shit.
Yeah.
And again,
although he supposedly.
But let me ask you this right quick. But is how you're saying how you feel about it, is that the perception that came off in the wrestling community? Do you see what I'm saying? Because you're saying it was no big deal. It was just that it was the way it is. But maybe the community was really making a big deal about it at this time.
Let me ask you this, DJ. This is this is really what this analogy comes down to, right? And you're going to you're going to hate this, but it's very simple, right? We see you one day wearing white fuzzy slippers. Have we ever let you forget about it?
You don't ever let me forget about it.
Exactly. Batista comes out in blue trunks. Do the fans fucking hate him? No, we don't hate you. We just thought it was hysterical because you're wearing white fuzzy slippers and none of us expected that. He comes out in blue trunks. He's Batista. He looks like a fucking Smurf. That's not hate. That's just like, what are you guys doing? You put him in blue trunks.
The meme. It's a fucking meme. That's all that it is.
I got you.
It's internet culture.
I'm just throwing it out there.
The meat of the conversation.
Yes, 10 wrestlers fans hate it for dumb reasons. Number 4, Charlotte Flair gets too many opportunities.
Well, that ain't a dumb reason. She does get too many opportunities. So he picked the low-hanging fruit on this one. But yeah, we all know why. You know.
Wait, let me ask you.
But again, I'm just saying. So you have your perception, but is this is these things he's throwing out there is what's constantly being what you're seeing on wrestling Twitter, on the sites? My guess is that maybe that's where he feels that where the so-called hate is, even though that might not be what it is. The perception seems that way.
Here's the true answer, and this is lucky. This is what I was just about to ask you, and that is this. Okay, we know that Charlotte Flair gets opportunities, right? Ric Flair's daughter, by the way, good with the McMahon family. Should she not get opportunities? Yeah, she gets a lot of opportunities. Great. Yeah. So let me ask you, do you hate Charlotte Flair?
No.
And exactly, like I don't have any negative feelings towards Charlotte Flair because of the amount of opportunities that she gets. That's ultimately what it comes down to. Now,
but let me say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say. I mean, does she get more opportunities than if her last name would not be Flair? That plays into it, but she's also, and this is something that everybody fucking forgets or seems to forget. She is fucking amazing in the fucking ring.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not like the fans don't want to see her wrestle. They just don't necessarily. And again, this is like we have this argument how many times about AEW, right? Where fans are like, well, if only so-and-so would go to AEW, they would be a superstar. And then you see what happens to someone like Charlotte Spears, right? So the fact of the matter is Charlotte Flair, you would not, like, as a wrestling fan, you're not going, I don't want to see her wrestle. She gets all these opportunities, and boy, by God. Now, if it was Lana getting those opportunities, then I'd be like, this guy has got it fucking.
Yeah, people would then hate. They really would hate at that point.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. 10 wrestlers fans hate it for dumb reasons. Number 3, John Cena can't wrestle.
Can't wrestle are the words. Remember.
Yes, exactly.
And this is something that fans have said for the longest time, Lucky. Yep. So remember that when you say this.
Michaels, you and I are on the same page.
I know. For sure.
The dude can go. I mean, because he uses a shorter moveset or whatever, or it became repetitive because he was on TV so much. But quite honestly, he can wrestle. Yeah. And he had very good training. So I don't think anybody truly hates him for it. They more so hated that he was shoved down their throats. That's really what it came down to. So,
yep. And
go ahead.
As far as continuity, fucking Super Cena. We mentioned Super Cena earlier, just a couple of minutes ago. And now, obviously, that is not John Cena the man. That is John Cena the fictional creation. That is the John Cena that WWE wants the audience to see. So obviously they're going to write things this way for him. So he to think that he can only do the 5 moves of doom is absolute fucking lunacy.
And I've said this from day one, and this is what really gets me. People think The Rock could wrestle, but John Cena couldn't.
Facts.
Yet one of your biggest fucking WrestleMania, so big that you did it twice, 2 years in a row, which is unheard of.
Fucking twice in a lifetime.
Yeah. Yep. And you wrestled those two. So it's not that they hate him because he can't, they use that as a, some people did use that as an excuse. But honestly, let's face it, one of the reasons that you keep going back to the product and this is what Steve nailed before. Okay, people got sick of Cena, right? Did they get sick of Cena and stop watching the product because he can't wrestle? No, it was shoving down the throat. But because the fan who can't justify that, doesn't understand that aspect of Vince just continuously giving the same thing. Let me ask you, does anyone think Triple H can't wrestle? But they fucking hated Triple H from 2002 until 2012. Fans fucking hated him.
The golden shovel.
That's
it
all.
too was a meme.
Yep.
10 wrestlers fans hate it for dumb reasons. Number 2, Ronda Rousey is a UFC fighter, not a wrestler.
No, I don't hate her.
If she wasn't a UFC fighter, she wouldn't have gotten a contract for the WWE. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
Exactly. This dude's.
No one would care.
I'm not going to jinx it because we've only got one more to go. But DJ Impact, please indulge us.
All right. 10 wrestlers fans hate it for dumb reasons. Number 1, Brock Lesnar is a lazy part-timer.
Go ahead, Lucky.
Well, listen, there are some fans that hate Brock for this. I'll be honest, there are. But you're still going to pay and show up to watch this motherfucker wrestle. So does it matter? He's going to get your money. And you're still going to watch him on TV too. So it's a non-factor.
And let's face it, this is the problem. So fans want to blame Brock, according to this, for being a lazy part-timer. First of all, I challenge any single fan watching this, listening to this, or anyone who knows a fan who might think Brock Lesnar is a lazy person to please make sure you make a video, tag Brock in it, and put your address. Because I'm pretty sure you don't want to say that to his fucking face. You call Brock Lesnar lazy, you are a fucking moron. Okay? That's the first point. Number 2, and what this whole thing goes to, Brock Lesnar signed a contract. If the WWE didn't feel that his value of draw was worth the stipulations in that contract, then they would have never given him the deal. So therefore, you can't say Brock is lazy, a lazy part-timer, but you can say that Brock got a situation that any single one of us motherfuckers, and this goes, if you do, please, we have an interview with Christina Arquette this coming Friday, and we're talking about the movie You Cannot Kill David Arquette. And one of the things that is brought up by Christina is a moment in this film, and please go out, watch it, buy it. It's a great film. One of the things she brings up is that DDP said in the film, if you're a fan and all of a sudden someone comes up to you and says, hey, we're going to put the WCW title on you, are you going, no? Fuck you, you're not.
Right.
And that's the same thing with this.
Yep.
Listen, it's not the wrestlers, it's the company who are making the decisions and making, doing these things that now get interpreted by a writer like this as if this is the general consensus. Steve's right. Most of this shit is just meme shit because you're shitting where you eat and you're eating while the shit is still there. Let's face it. You're going to crap on the product, but at the same time, you're still generally going to watch the product. It's as simple as that. And for people, the one thing you can say about Steve is that it's admirable when you find that you're not enjoying something and you walk away from it for a while. That's a very admirable thing to do. on the flip side, Steve is not sitting here going, well, I fucking hate that they're fucking pushing Cena down my throat. You know, I never hear Steve saying, you know, the reason I'm not watching this is because of one fucking person all the time doing blah, 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 blah. No. You see that you're just not enjoying what you're watching right now. All right. And who knows, 7 weeks later, it might be a little better for you, or 10 months, or 10 years. I had a friend in college who had not watched wrestling since, 1992. And all of a sudden, in the year 1999, it was a total rejuvenation. Well, was it because the product was bad during that time? No. It was, he didn't watch the product because he was living life. And that's something we fucking forget all the time too, is that people, the coronavirus, okay, is the pandemic causing the problems and the ratings, and we'll get back to this and this? We don't know, because we're still living it. We're living fucking life. So, it's articles like these that are trying to make this like point of, this very, look at me, I can come up with these people, and here you go. I'm guaranteeing you that this guy wrote the list not because he's passionate, because he wants to find out why and the truth behind this. I want to say that this guy wrote this list because he needed that $75 this week to pay some kind of bill. And you know what that's called? Living. And that's what this guy's doing. So,
Good stuff, man. Good points.
The dude batted 1,000. I disagreed with all of them. Great job, dipshit. I think that, like Michael said, the guy had a quota, and he had to publish X number of words and X number of slides or pages, and this just seemed to be the thing that we should do. We should cite meme culture as actually being serious and not in any way, shape, or form being just flat out trolling. So I get a sense of fucking humor and laugh a little bit. I think that's something that can be taken from this. As far as, Lesnar, shit, man. If they would pay me $16 million a year for 25 or 30 dates or whatever the fuck it was that he actually worked last year, you're fucking lying if you're saying you're turning that shit down.
Yeah, sign me up, and whoever's got a problem with it, send me your address.
Facts.
It's the same thing too. The people who like to take the moral stance on Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Right. They're playing on blood money and blah blah blah. Okay. If you're trying to take care of your family, especially some of the guys like Taker and Shawn Michaels, you're at the end of your rope. Are you gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna pass up $7 million or 10 million or 15 million for one crack?
Nope.
No.
But again, it's one of those things where I'm not mad at the competitors, I'm mad at the company.
The company, exactly.
And that's something that I think everybody needs to be able to draw a distinction on, because that's something that, I mean, it needs to have a division there.
Let me ask you guys this, and I think this is, again, I'm going to use Disney because it's an easy draw, because they have a lot of similarities to the encompassness and the hugeness of WWE, and that is this. Disney has, over the last now handful of years, decided to take the most beloved cartoons they've had and remake them into live action films. Yep. Do you fucking hate Disney for it? Nope. Or are you just not a fan of those films, or enjoy the films just the same?
Enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's money.
Yeah. That's
money makes the world go round, brother.
It's money.
It always will.
And you
always will.
And you might disagree with the company. At the same time, the one thing that you can do is just walk away from it. But if you can't walk away from it, then they're doing something right.
Yeah.
Good points. Good points. Well, guys, that's our 3 count for tonight. Let's give our final thoughts this evening. I'll start with you, King Lucky.
I want to thank everybody for listening. I also want to thank one of our favorite listeners, John, out there, who is redeploying. Thank you for your service. Thank you for listening to the show. He's a real strong guy. Anybody that puts their life on the line, you know what? Hats off and kudos to him. So keep him in your prayers as he makes his way back out there, and stay safe, everyone.
Cool. Sin City Steve.
Thank you guys for listening to the show, hanging out with us in the chat, all that kind of fun stuff. Storm and Mormon, I love you, brother. Take care, be safe. All the usual stuff that I always say, repsports.com, promo code Vegas. At the end of the day, I mean, that's business. We got more important things to worry about. So take care, be safe.
No doubt. Matt Michaels.
Simon Street. They lost.
Oh, man.
Ouch.
Who that?
Again, not just they lost.
Who that took that L?
Oh, my Lord.
Remember week 1 when he thought that season was looking so shiny and bright?
The thing that sucks, Impact, is that your Raiders did legitimately fuck me out of some serious money today.
Oh,
I went 4 for 5 on my parlay. I did take the Packers tonight money line too.
Yeah.
Couldn't keep it under 7. Come on, Raiders.
Yeah. Well, and I guess what, Buffalo, they beat the Rams today, and then next week the Raiders play Buffalo, and Buffalo's looking good. So I don't know if Raiders going to have their number, but hey.
Well, one thing you got to remember about Buffalo is they're not necessarily looking good. They're a gunslinging team, but they have no fucking defense.
Yeah, they'll beat the shit out of you, but yeah.
So I mean, the Raiders might lose the game, but the Raiders have they have just as solid as a chance as the defense can hold.
I'm hoping
Steelers are 3-0.
Make sure we don't forget that. Guys, thank you for listening on our Facebook live feed, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, for everyone that's there. And all of our podcast listeners, thank you for listening as well. We have also jumped on to Amazon's podcast, which they just released not too long ago. So you have another platform you can use us as well. And it's especially if you're used to playing your music on from Amazon Music. Now it's just it's just adding us to that rotation. So we thank you for that. Until then, we will see you guys next week. Stay strong. Be nice to one another.